Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
When students struggle in school because they are hungry
or fall behind because they lack school supplies or clean clothing,
being greeted at the start of every school day by the smile of a caring adult can make all the difference.
Especially someone from the community.
Someone who knows firsthand the obstacles students might be facing
and what it will take to help them thrive.
At Communities in Schools, our site coordinators surround students with a community of support and remain by their side
to ensure that they have everything they need to engage in learning
and succeed in school and in life.
Access to technology, learning materials,
and even one-to-one mentor support.
We are there for them all day, every day. This is what Communities in Schools is all about.
Going all in for kids, in schools, in communities, and beyond.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org. That's communitiesinschools.org.
My name is Luis Fonsi. No one should face Alzheimer's or other dementias alone. Resources are available at alz.org and by calling the Alzheimer's Association's 24/7 free hotline at 800-272-3900.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a data analyst.
Hey, what model did you use for these quarterly projections?
Astrology. If Mercury's in retrograde, sales tank. If Venus is rising, we crush Q4.
You built our revenue forecast off horoscopes?
Yeah, the Zodiac never lies.
This is your job for sponsored jobs.
This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. We'll see variably cloudy skies this afternoon. Scattered storms popping up yet again. Any of the storms could bring some briefly heavy rainfall. High of 85. 71 tonight under cloudy skies. And then tomorrow, more of the same. It'll be variably cloudy in the afternoon. High of 88 with scattered storms.
This hour of The Drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
Guerrier strumming forward. Willie out in front. They shoot and score! Shane Gostisbehere. Backhand chance out in front. Double switch. They score! They score! It's Taylor Hall on the doorstep and comes through with a big goal. Carolina gets the lead back. It's 2-1. Sandra Cross. Jarvis has to settle it. He'll get it right back. A chance. They score! They score! Andrei Svechnikov wins it in overtime.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Hopefully you had a wonderful holiday weekend. You know the Carolina Hurricanes did. Last we talked to you, Canes trailed in the Eastern Conference Finals 0-1. Now we're back on a Tuesday. They lead this series 2-1, and they need a little extra hockey in both of them. But as long as your heart's healthy and you can take the stress, it was a great weekend. Again, I'm Tim Donnelly. Max Gorn sitting in, producing the show today, and I think you know where we're going to start the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Big 3 at 3 presented by Maynard Service Company, heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. Anything you have going on with your house, give them a call or check them out online at MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR services.com. Canes win Game 3 in Montreal, by the way. 3-2 in overtime. Isn't it ironic that they spent, if you watched any of the pregame or any of the lead up, they spend hours talking about all these legends and people of the past and where the history of the game and all of these Montreal legends, and then it was a ghost that got things started for the Canes. Oh, we got a ghost of our own too. How you like me now? Listen, it was a stereotypical Canes win, and the reason why I say it that way is they were dominant for much of the game. They held Montreal to 12 shots. 12 in an overtime game. Yet, it's kind of crazy to say that, right? They had 12 shots, and it went to overtime.
It's actually the fewest shots for an overtime Stanley Cup playoff game ever. Tied for.
And you know what the third fewest shots in an overtime game ever was?
It was Game 2.
Game 2. And it's hilarious because in Game 2, and we'll talk about Game 2, but in Game 2, it appeared as if the Canes gave up 12 shots in an overtime game, like on the official scorekeeper, until they kind of late changed it to there was a shot on goal in overtime. It's almost like the Canes went, oh, we kind of liked the way it looked before that late change there. We'll do that in this one. Same final score, 12 shots. They obviously couldn't change it. There was no shot to add to it, and they got the win. And listen, the top line waited as long as the top line could wait. They held it off as long as they possibly could. And whether you think it's Aho's goal and you watched it in super slow motion, you think he got just a piece, or you think it's Svechnikov's goal and it's his, probably more deserving. Whether you think it was a terrible pass by Lane Hudson that was intercepted, or whether you think it was an awful pass by Lane Hudson that was intercepted. Regardless of how you got there, Jarvis assisted to Svech. Aho provided the net front presence, and they got the goal in overtime that they needed. And that goal, and obviously the Ehlers goal, which we'll talk about in overtime and late in the game of Game 2, those are the goals that the Canes haven't had recently in the Eastern Conference Finals. Those are the goals, the big goals from high-priced players in moments where literally you needed to have it. Those are the goals that have eluded them since 2006 at this stage in the postseason. And then everything else that is stereotypical about the Canes is stereotypical about the Canes. The blue line was really good. Keandre Miller's playing great. Slavin bounced back from Game 1 in a great way. Same with Chatfield. Freddie Anderson is dealing with the stresses and concerns that come with a Canes goalie, which is you're going to be sitting back there with not much to do for a while, and then all of a sudden you're going to have high dangers on your doorstep. And because of that, you don't get all the ridiculous kind of cupcakes to boost your save percentage. If you do your job and you make enough, they'll make you a winner. They won Game 3. We'll talk about it as the show goes along. There's a lot more to get into there. That is number 1. Let's get to number 2.
Number 2.
Canes won Game 2. 3-2 in overtime. Gave up 13 shots in that one. We already went over all that. Listen, when people ask, what is different about this year's Canes team versus the others in recent years? There's a lot of answers you could choose from, but one of the best answers you can give is those other teams didn't have Nikolai Ehlers. And you see why that is important, not only in Game 2. Obviously, obviously, in game 2. But the guy sees the ice really well. He puts passes on the money that maybe haven't been converted at a high enough rate by his teammates, but then you see the 2 goals he scored in game 2. The individual effort on the first goal. Just to be facing the wrong way, splitting defenders, and all of a sudden it's in the net. And then to not only get the opportunity, not only field the setup, but play it perfectly to score the goal in overtime. Again, I'll say it. Those are the goals that have eluded the Canes in recent Eastern Conference Finals. And those are the goals that make it completely not only justifiable, but a steal. That's why you pay Nikolai Ehlers. That's why you go out in free agency and grab Nikolai Ehlers. Honestly, that's why you tried with Jake Gensel. That's why you tried with Mikko Rantanen, because you were willing to pay, you were willing to trade, you were willing to beg, borrow, and steal to get the guy that scores those 2 goals in that game. Because if he doesn't score those 2 goals in that game, you might be down 0-2. You might even be likely down 0-2. And who knows what the series does from there. But you ain't got the highest paid free agent in the free agency class last offseason, and it worked out for you. Again, you can choose from a lot of different answers as far as what's different about this team than in years past. Nikolai Ehlers is one of the many correct answers to that question. And then everything else I said about Game 3 is pretty much true about Game 2. Blue line did a great job. Slavin, Chatfield bounced back. Keandre Miller has been great. Freddie Anderson did the thing where you're not going to see many shots, but then all of a sudden there's high dangers on your doorstep. Like, all of that applies. But Nikolai Ehlers was the star, and he should be.
Yeah, and maybe they don't come out with that same tenacity and great performance in Game 3 if they don't manage to pull out the win in Game 2, because there was definitely a feeling after Montreal tied the game and sent that one to overtime, like, oh no, like, here we go again. If they blow this lead and they're down 0-2 heading to Montreal, like, how many times have we seen this over and over the last couple of years? But the new guy shows what, you bring in new guys to do, is change it up, kind of break up that bad juju, and he got the OT winner there. They came with a little bit more momentum into Montreal last night and got the win, so now they got the lead in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years. And I think the vibe is a lot better than if it were 2-1 the other way, or, goodness gracious, imagine if they dropped both and it was 3-0. Then the vibes would be at an all-time low, certainly, but we're on the good side of it right now with a few more games to go.
It was hard not to get kind of like doom and gloom at the end of Game 2. Obviously, it doesn't matter for us, right? Sitting, wherever you're sitting, you're not impacting the game. But like when there were chances in overtime and they didn't score, you catch yourself going like, of course, rather than like, all right, they're getting good looks, let's stay into it, which is very much what I felt in Game 3. And it's a lot of credit to Ehlers. A lot of credit to Ehlers. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
You didn't think we were leaving the Canes, did you? Canes are up 2-1 in the series. So 1 in the Big 3 at 3, they won Game 3. 2 in the Big 3 at 3, they won Game 2. 3 in the Big 3 at 3, they're up 2-1, series lead. I bring this up as like the gift and the curse, right? You're up 2-1, that's great, right? Especially how the series started in Game 1. You can already start pointing to some of the, well, it was obviously rust in Game 1, and now they've shaken it off, and they're back to who they are. But also, you're only halfway to winning this series, right? You have to continue to take care of business. This one is far from over. So far from over that when I came in today, and I hadn't checked the gambling lines, and I heard that the Canes were minus 110 or minus 105, depending on which sports book you looked at, to win the Stanley Cup. I went, whoa. This thing isn't even over yet. 2-1 isn't even over yet. Not even close, not by a long shot. So you're up 2-1, you're in a good position, you feel confident, but the hay is not in the barn. The flip side of that is games 2 and 3, if you can continue to put Montreal in the situations you put Montreal, you feel really good about it. You're starting to sense perhaps the fatigue eating into Montreal, perhaps a little frustration eating into Montreal. And if you can keep that pressure on them, you start to feel really, really good about it. It is the second fewest shots on goal through the first 3 games of a team's playoff series in history. And they won a game. And 2 of them have gone to overtime. And it's the second fewest shots on goal through the first 3 games of a team's playoff series. So of course, you're going to feel good about it. But that is the kind of thing that you feel good about it only as long as you can keep it up. So keep it up. Again, we'll talk more about that game. We'll talk more about the series, obviously, because the Carolina Hurricanes have officially won more games this postseason than any postseason since 2006. And they've had some really good teams since then. This one has now made it further. And it's the first team with a lead in the Eastern Conference Finals since 2006. And we can keep going on and on. But the more and more stats you have that are the best or the first since 2006, they're good stats to have. That's how I'll say it. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Was it rust? Who knows? What has been different as the Canes started getting their wins? We'll talk about that coming up next, and we'll play some audio for you from Rod Brindamore. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend Coach Pete. Coach, you talked about how companies are not giving you a retirement or a pension anymore. I've seen this firsthand with a family member. She worked for a company that they matched her 401k like up to 20%. You never see that anymore. They did so many things, and now it's like you're on your own.
Well, yeah, you are. You're on your own, and companies shifted the burden of retirement from themselves, which used to give you a pension, to you. So it's no fun to save in that 401k, but if you save now, you have a whole lot more money in the future, and what you do when you have a lump sum in the 401k is you roll it into a place which will give you a growth potential, a protecting that growth. In other words, you won't give it back, no fees, and then it will give you a lifetime income you can't outlive. If you haven't seen this, you really need to. Let's look at what you have put aside, what that could translate to for a lifetime income that will put you in control of retirement. Call now. We'll do one for you. No cost or obligation.
919-794-7900. 919-794-7900.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
It's Bo time. We know there's a lot of breakfast sandwiches out there, but only Bojangles has the legendary Cajun Filet Biscuit. Shake things up with a boldly seasoned chicken breast on a fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit with Bo Rounds and your choice of drink. So when you're craving something bold, something different, something that takes breakfast to a whole new level, the Cajun Filet Biscuit is waiting for you, along with crispy Bo Rounds and a drink. Order in the app or at Bojangles today. It's Bo time.
It's Bo time. Time to satisfy your craving for Cajun with a Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuit. Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuits are served all day, every day. And with that biscuit, why not add Bo's Iced Coffee? That's right, Bo's Iced Coffee with sweet cream. Choose caramel or French vanilla. Bo's new Iced Coffee, a great way to sweeten your day. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
Derrick strumming forward with Willie out in front. They shoot and score! Shane Gostisbehere, the forecheck in effect for Carolina, and it's 1-0 here in the Bell Center for the Hurricanes.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Max Gorn getting spicy on the rejoin music there. How do you like us now, Montreal? I failed to say this in the opening segment. Want everybody to know it is not Monday, but it is our first show of the week. So we will have a Tuesday Soundoff. Want to make sure everybody has their opportunity, meaning you all listening, have your opportunity to get whatever you need to off your chest, to vent, to gloat, to call people out, to celebrate, to let us know what you think the rest of the series looks like. There's a million different sports possibilities here, but Canes future, this upcoming game tomorrow, as well as college basketball, NFL. They're at OTAs today for Carolina Panthers. All of that will be on the buffet line for you if you want to talk about it. But we will open up the phone lines for you at 4:15. We'll call it a Tuesday Soundoff rather than a Monday Soundoff, but it is it's our first show of the week, so we want to give you all the opportunities. I have a feeling a lot of people want to talk about Canes winning Game 3 versus Montreal. And if you're talking like MVPs, if you're talking like who was the most, who was the best, obviously there's a few players you could go with. You've heard them, you know them. We've mentioned a bunch of them today already. But if you want to go a little creative, you want to be a little bit more outside the box of a thinker, Eric Tulsky, Canes GM. I mean, Keandre Miller, dude has been unreal. If you look at some of the like game cards and things, all these little expected goals on and but the team got this, that, I don't even want to pretend like I know all of the metrics. You could say Keandre Miller's been the best player in the series. Nikolai Ehlers, we talked about the impact he had not only in Game 2, but on that stall line, bringing them a certain level of speed and scoring pop.
He's also just so good with the entries on the power play, which is an area in particular. Not that the power play has been great in the playoffs or in this series or anything, but especially second half of the regular season, like their kind of resurgence, I think a lot of that can be attributed to the speed that he brings and the creativity and helping break over that blue line where in years past maybe the entries on the man advantage were not always the smoothest.
It is kind of crazy how often you're sitting there and the moment you go, like, all right, somebody do something, Ehlers just takes the puck and goes into the zone. And it's like, oh, that was easy. Yeah, just perfect. And then you're almost like you can't yell anymore because they did exactly what you asked. But Taylor Hall, how good has he been? Again, how many times it can be said? He was the afterthought in the Mikko Rantanen acquisition. He was the, oh yeah, and we got Taylor Hall too. Logan Stankoven, he was the pivot, the emergency, what can we do? And the Mikko Rantanen departure. And look at what these guys are doing this postseason. You could even go as far as you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them style GMing. There were points in time over each of the last couple years and this offseason where some people, and I'm saying some people understanding that I likely am part of the people, some people suggested perhaps moving Andrei Svechnikov. And the injuries and the money and all this, if you want to get somebody back, you need to give somebody with a big – and then he ends up scoring the game winner last night. You got to know when to hold them. Sean Walker. I mean, let's not pretend that when Eric Tulsky took over, there wasn't a certain core, right? There was. And those guys are playing well as well. But the buttons pushed, the strings pulled by Eric Tulsky to put this team together only to repeatedly have it be reinforced that he was making really, really smart decisions is pretty incredible. And obviously he's the figurehead, and he'd be the first to tell you. We've had him on the show. He'd be the first to tell you that it's, a lot of people are working on those decisions and there's their little, I call it the Knights of the decision-making round table. Like, it's not just one guy, but when you're the GM, you wear the wins, you wear the losses on roster moves, wear the wins aggressively. All the way down to the little things. I mean, I know that the Canadians were praised for having 1 billion block shots last night, and they did, but how often do you see Canes players who, in their role, right, stars, goal scorers, high-priced forwards, that if they were that same role on other teams, wouldn't be doing this? You see Canes putting their body on the line. You see them hustling back on defense. You see them being two-way forwards, and it's understanding fit and everything else that goes with it. Now let's hear some audio from Rod Brindamore and perhaps some of the players here as they look back on the first 3 games of the series. It's, I think, just a statistical anomaly that not only are the Canes 5-0 in overtime, but they're 5-0 and they've won them all 3-2. They've all gone to overtime 2-2, and they've scored the game winner every time. But it does kind of open up some questions about, are the Canes built for that kind of game, and are they forcing other teams to play that style of game? Here's Rod Brindamore on how they're consistently winning games just like that.
I don't think you can really put it on one thing. I think we got a good group, good players, and They play hard for each other, and I think that shows.
I agree, and I think that's the right thing to say. It'd be weird to be like, we're built for it. Because then, if you ever do lose an overtime game or a low-scoring game, people will be like, wrote a check your tush couldn't cash there, huh? But I want to be clear. And I have this debate every single year around NFL where teams win they'll go 9-2 or 9-1 in one-score games. And there's this analytics crowd that's just screaming, once you get to a one-score game, it's kind of 50-50. And if you're 9-1 and you're going to regression to the mean the next year. And I go, well, not every team is that way. If you have Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady and they're the most clutch and they're most comfortable and they're perfect at executing the 2-minute drill and you go 9-1, that's not a fluke. That's not like, if you flip a coin 10 times, you might get 9 heads. It's not that. Now, if you're the Broncos last year and you went whatever it was, like 11-1, maybe there's a little bit of flukish nature to that. But you have to look and you have to decide. The way the Canes play, and particularly the way they were playing going into the latter parts of that game in the third period in each of the last two, if you're not giving up shots and you're skating 4 lines and you're trusting your fourth group of forwards and you're trusting your third pair, as games go along, you're going to get stronger when other teams that don't trust their depth as much are going to be getting weaker. So before anybody just goes like, well, overtime in the NHL, they're just getting lucky. Before you start doing that, look at, well, maybe not. This might be a thing where there's something to point to that says that's why. Now, is it 100% foolproof? No. It's not. Montreal got a odd man rush kind of right at the beginning of overtime. Could have ended right there, and we'd be having a very different conversation. But it didn't. And the longer it went on, the more confident I got. Because, also, what has Montreal played, what are we up to now, 17 games in the last 30, we'll call it 38 days. Canes have played 11. They're skating their fourth line more. They're skating their depth more, meaning the Canes are. Yeah, fatigue's going to play an issue, and overtime is a lot of times a test of that. And then it was finally the top-line guys getting it done. Again, I like to point out that even though Aho didn't get official credit for the goal, his net front presence, a huge part of the goal. That screen, huge part of the goal. Shout out to Trip Tracy for making it very obvious on the call.
Yeah, screen assist. If you were playing 2K, you get a boost to your player rating for the game.
There we go. But it was Jarvis on the primary. It was Fetch with the goal. It was Aho at the net front. So the top line kind of all having their fingerprints on the game-winning goal in overtime. Here's Rod Brindamore on the top guys stepping up.
That whole game, I felt really good about how we were going, and those guys in particular had a lot of good chances and were around it. And, you never know how it's going to obviously unfold, but we certainly had our opportunities.
There is something empty, and Canes will never admit it. They may have genuinely not even believe it. There is something empty about a really good game for that line that does not contribute to goals. And I was even getting frustrated because I was I listened to Mike and Tripp, but also it's when the TV lags and everything, you got to turn them down. You got to turn on the regular broadcast just because you got to sync it up a million times. By that point, I was listening to the television broadcast, and they kept saying how great Aho has been and how he's been so impactful and so noticeable. And I was going like, I have higher expectations for that guy than that. I want him contributing to goals in addition to the little things, because Aho doing the little things is not news to me, right? Him being a great puck mover is not news to me. That's expected. That's water's wet, right? That's sky blue. What I need is the complete game plus the point production, and I know he didn't technically get a point, but he did to me on the biggest goal of the game. Now, hopefully, that can open up the floodgates a little bit. I know that the top line for Montreal also getting bottled up pretty good, so you could argue it's a chess move, right? Queen for a queen style thing, but I still have higher expectations for that top line because they're that darn good. Speaking of, last audio clip for you before we move on. Rod Brindamore on what that goal can do for Svetch's production. I would say, as a example or a microcosm of the entire line that hopefully will open up some floodgates.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it jumpstarts him, getting on the score sheet. I think he's played well. I think he's been a factor in just not scoring. And I mean, you're not going to advance if you don't get production out of your top guys, obviously. So it's great to see that tonight.
It'd be nice to see them get going. But again, greedy, high expectations. I don't want to see anything lack on the other side of the ice. I want both. I want that to be clear. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll come back to that game in a little bit, but first. Actually, not first. We'll have 2 minutes of gold coming back to get right back into that game. Then the Dean's List. So all that's coming up next. Stick around.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. I know a lot of people out there enjoy the holiday weekend, as you should. But we all need to make sure that we're safe out there on the road, and that means being safe even before you get onto the bike. Make sure that you haven't had anything to drink. Safety is always important before you go on the road, whether you're driving or you're riding. But also as a motorcycle rider, understand that there might be some impaired drivers that are out there on the road. Always be safe. Always have that escape plan. But if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you contact Law Tigers first at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you get in touch with the insurance company. Your case evaluation with Law Tigers is always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. The insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible, whereas Law Tigers attorneys, they are there to fight for you. They are part of the motorcycle riding community. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, or visit lawtigers.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Pros, save more on the materials you need to get the job done, inside and out, at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking, now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Then, we'll deliver it all straight to your job site to help keep your jobs moving. Get the brands pros trust, priced right, and ready when you need them. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This is the sound of Jack buzz-cutting his way to a small fortune. To Jack, every time he cuts his own hair, that's $50 right in his pocket. If Jack sees DIY buzz cuts as a saving strategy, Wells Fargo is right behind him. And with their mobile app, tracking his savings is easy.
Oh, ouch.
However you make money work, we can work with that.
Mobile carriers' message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Stay informed with The Rundown, the daily newsletter from High School OT that delivers high school sports news and insights straight to your inbox. Brought to you by High School OT and powered by our sponsors, Wake Orthopedics, First Carolina Bank, and Smith Douglas Homes. Subscribe to The Rundown at highschoolot.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll open up the phone lines at 4:15 for a Tuesday Soundoff. We want to hear from as many of you as possible. And I have a feeling, just a hunch, there'll be some takes on the Carolina Hurricanes and being up 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals. And we would love to hear from you. So bookmark that. About 45 minutes from now, we'll open up the phones. In the meantime, about that Canes game I was just talking about, that Canes series I was just talking about, we have 2 minutes of gold with our very own Adam Gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I got 2 minutes
for 3 goals and 2 wins as the Hurricanes take a 2-1 series lead over the Montreal Canadiens in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's right, the Hurricanes have won 2 Eastern Conference Finals games. Amazing! Alert the media. We already have. It's all brought to you by Parkway Sleep Health Centers. They will help you get good rest faster and with the care you deserve. And boy, do I need it. So the Hurricanes got off to a fast start again.
Derrick strumming forward with Willie out in front. They shoot and score! Shane Gostisbehere, the forecheck in effect for Carolina, and it's 1-0 here in the Bell Center for the Hurricanes.
Shane Gostisbehere, rebound of a Mark Jankowski attempted shot. It was blocked like so many others by the Canadiens. 33 of them, in fact, over the course of 3+ periods. Montreal getting in the way of every shot, it seems, every pass as well. But the Hurricanes got off to the good start, and then after the Canadiens equalized late in the first period, that good feeling lasted all of 54 seconds.
Off the boards, Miller comes in, backhand chance out in front, Dobish shoots, they score! They score! It's Taylor Hall on the doorstep and comes through with a big goal. Carolina gets the lead back, it's 2-1.
Taylor Hall, again, what a playoff he is having. Carolina takes a 2-1 lead into the dressing room. Montreal would equalize on the power play in the second period. Then we get to the third, kind of quiet in the first 10 minutes, and all of a sudden Montreal takes advantage.
Dobson deflected in and they'll score. And it was friendly fire that beats Frederick Anderson as Nikolai Ehlers dove to try to knock the puck away. Redirects it past his netminder, and Montreal takes a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, off of Nick Ehlers' stick, he was trying desperately to keep the puck out. But wait, was the play offside earlier in the buildup?
After Carolina's coach's challenge, the play was determined to be offside. We have no goal.
Yes, that's why Chris Huffine is the best in the business. Carolina's video coach right away. But honestly, I think a lot of us thought maybe Caulfield was offside on entry. As it turns out, it was 29 seconds prior when he was ruled to have been offside. All right, we go to the overtime. Carolina with chance after chance after chance, and ultimately the fourth line, which factored in on the first goal, the fourth line did it again. They softened the underbelly of Montreal. Will Carrier hit on Lane Hudson. Mark Jankowski hit on Noah Dobson, and the top line jumps out and takes advantage.
Here's a giveaway. Svechnikov with it, trying to beat both Hudson and Dobson. Svechnikov will hang on to the puck. Send across. Jarvis has to settle it. He'll get it right back. A chance. They score! They score! Andrei Svechnikov wins it in overtime! And the Hurricanes have silenced the Bell Center and have taken a 2-1 series lead here in the Eastern Conference Final.
Bad turnover by Lane Hudson ends up in his net as Andrei Svechnikov is credited with the goal. Aho, incredible. Sebastian Aho, an incredible net front. Did he get a piece? I don't know. I thought it was Juraj Slavkovsky's stick that actually deflected the puck off the glove of Dobish and in. Either way, who cares? Hurricanes score a goal, and for the 5th time in the playoffs, they win 3-2 in overtime. That's right. All 5 overtime wins this playoff season have been decided 3-2 in favor of Carolina. I need a nap. By the way, Game 4 is tomorrow. Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off. For another 3-2 overtime Hurricanes win.
Thank you very much to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold, all about last night's win, which gave the Canes the 2-1 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Enjoy it, by the way, Canes fans. I know I say that often, but when you're in it, you know, what's the glory days thing? Right? I wish we knew we were in the glory days before we left them, something like that. There's a lot of teams out there that would love to have a 2-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Good.
It's quite different from after Thursday how I was feeling. I had like a physical reaction. Like I left the arena after the Game 1 loss, and I legit felt sick. I don't know if like it was me internalizing like what I had just seen and being like, oh no, here we go again. But like I was sick. It kind of overlapped into the weekend as well, but I feel better now.
I was going to say, last night you ran a marathon starting at about 11:30 at night. You were just juiced up to the gills. It is, I mean, enjoy it is all I'm going to say. Obviously, tomorrow it's another game. The team needs to be thinking future. What's next? Go 1-0 every day. Fans, you got an off day. Enjoy being the leader in the Eastern Conference Finals. We have a few minutes here. Let's go ahead and jump straight into the Dean's List. We'll get it started with a disclaimer. I do not know all the rules of women's lacrosse. With that being said, I'm putting Chloe Humphrey and the UNC women's lacrosse team on the Dean's List. I know they fell just short of back-to-back national championships, losing to I believe the team they beat in the national championship last year, Northwestern. It appears, based on the social media outcry that I read, there was at least a controversial and perhaps a straight-up bad reversal of a goal where Northwestern went on a 3-goal run, like back-to-back-to-back goals, to take a 12-11 lead. Then Carolina scored to make it 12-12, and an official's review challenge took the goal away, and then from that point on, it was kind of Northwestern's move. Again, I don't pretend to know the rules. I'm not sure if I've told this story. I did play-by-play as a last-second fill-in for women's lacrosse in college once, and I settled on the term "there's an infraction" because I didn't know what any of the infractions were. There'd be whistles, they'd drop the ball, they'd be running in the other direction, and I'd just go, another infraction, going the opposite way. So it's confusing. It's, I guess, little related to men's lacrosse, but there's enough differences that you don't assume. But I give UNC women a lot of credit for finishing runner-up.
I randomly remember, this is about 2 months ago, I was looking up to check the date. It was March 25th. I randomly watched these two teams play in the regular season earlier this year. I don't watch a lot of lacrosse at any level, but it's just one of those things where it was on a Wednesday at 5 p.m. or something like that, and I was watching it. And they can pour in goals. That one ended up being a 17-16 overtime win for Northwestern. That was in Chapel Hill. So I guess it was not really all that surprising that they would end up meeting for the national championship on the line. But hearty effort for Carolina, falling just short. They have a couple other women's national championships in various sports though that they can still lean on.
And individually, Chloe Humphrey did tie the NCAA single-season goal record of 109, which ironically was set last year by Northwestern's Madison Taylor, who was in the game. So last year, Northwestern's Madison Taylor set the goal record individual season and lost to Carolina in the championship. This year, Chloe Humphrey tied the goal record and lost to Northwestern in the national championship.
You can't get the goal record and the championship. You got to pick one or the other.
Stop at 108 next year, and your teammates will do the rest. Don't go for 109. More Dean's List. NC State, Wake Forest, UNC baseball, ECU baseball. They're all continuing on into the NCAA tournament. State is a 3 seed in the Auburn Regional. UNC is the 1 seed hosting in the Chapel Hill Regional. And they have TCU, ECU. Sorry, I keep doing that. Tennessee, ECU, and VCU. It just feels like it should be TCU, ECU, VCU. But it's Tennessee, the 2 seed, ECU, the 3 seed, VCU, the 4 seed in that Chapel Hill Regional. And then Wake Forest is the 2 seed in Morgantown, hosted by West Virginia. Some are arguing about the validity of NC State's inclusion because some teams get snubbed.
They weren't even last 4 in, though.
My point is, who cares? You're in. Go play ball. Elliott Avent, last ride. Go play ball. Nobody expects you to turn down the invite, so go enjoy it. Do you have any Dean's Listers quickly here, Max?
Well, I was going to name all the teams that made it to the College World Series or NCAA baseball tournaments. It's only the top 8 really make it to the College World Series. So no, that was it. Shout out Wake Forest, though. They actually played West Virginia. Wake hosted a regional. I think this was 2017. Because because I remember going because I grew up in Winston and went to a ton of Wake Forest events as a kid. They hosted a regional that West Virginia was in that year, ended up advancing the Super Regional where they played at Florida, who went on to win the College World Series that year. So obviously they did not advance, but yeah, shout out the Deeks, I guess.
Shout out the Deeks. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Dean's List. Class dismissed. Don't forget, we'll be opening up the phone lines about 4:15, maybe a minute or two after that for a Tuesday Soundoff. So start thinking of your takes, your comments, your questions, whatever you want to do to start a conversation. You will get to choose when you call in at about 4:15 for a Tuesday Soundoff. When we come back, big news in the college basketball world. It wasn't all hockey news over the weekend and earlier today. College basketball also making waves. We'll tell you next.
Leaves, water, debris. Hi, this is Hallie with Roofworks. There are a lot of things that can wreak havoc on your commercial property, and we are proud to be there for our dedicated customers that depend on us. From helping to design and build the roof for new construction, to maintenance, repair, and replacements, we've got the experience that you can count on. At Roofworks, we don't want to be the biggest, we just want to be the best. Visit us at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and that cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. So give me my good friends, give me a dew.
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Stop by Handy Hugo's for great deals on your favorite Mountain Dew products. Head to Handy Hugo's today.
Hey, bud, why so glum?
Got laid off again.
Wow, you just can't keep a job, can you? You know what? You need to go to Sharky's.
They're hiring?
No, because they'd never hire you. Evidently, no one will. But Sharky's is a great place. We can play pool, throw darts. There's an outstanding patio, nice folks to visit with, great food. They've got it all.
Yeah, having a job isn't all it's cracked up to be anyway, so I'll try Sharky's.
Great decision, bud.
Sharky's, 5800 Durley Road. Maybe the greatest neighborhood bar in the world.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Sure, we're in the middle of the NHL postseason. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty, obviously. But college basketball really never sleeps anymore. The offseason is the season. It's at least a reality television show in the offseason. So a couple bits of news that are going to significantly impact life here in the Triangle this college basketball season. We'll start with the biggest news, and this comes earlier today. Matthew Abel, transfer from NC State, had been committed to UNC, but left his name in the NBA draft pool and had gone through the combine and workouts and much more. With the deadline being tomorrow, it's May 27th, for players to withdraw their name from the NBA draft. Matthew Abel has withdrawn his name from the NBA draft and will be attending Carolina and will be playing for Michael Malone and will be making the, I'm sure, very annoying to NC State fans, transfer path from the Wolfpack to the Tar Heels. And to me, there's two parts to this. One, what does it mean for Matt Abel? What does it mean for Carolina? I think it's a huge boost for Carolina. If you put Matt Abel, Neoklis Abdalis, and Terrence Brown, the guard transfer from Utah, all on the same roster, that's a very, very good backcourt. And I don't want to say they're going to have a talented front court, but for the most part, unproven front court. So they're going to be leaning on their perimeter to be the difference maker, at least for the first half of the season. And Jaren Stevenson's going to have to step up. And you could argue he's, I don't know, like 60% big this year, 40% perimeter player. So throw him into the mix. They're going to be leaning on that perimeter a lot, and Matt Abel's going to be a big part of it. And I would be worried about their ability to be the difference maker if he weren't there playing for them. For Matt Abel, it becomes more interesting. most people universally say it's a huge learning experience. It's a great thing to go through the entire pre-draft process and then go back to school because now you've gotten the feedback, you've tested yourself against the best, you've gone through workouts and combines and everything, which I agree with for the most part. The only worry would be if the feedback you received from the NBA about what you need to improve on, if that maybe doesn't align with what UNC wants to use you for. Right, and there's a few obvious examples. I won't use players, but I'll use like just hypotheticals. If you try to go to the NBA draft, and last year you were playing for a team and you were a off-ball scoring guard, and they tell you, "Hey man, love what you're doing, love your shooting ability, love your explosive measurables." But for you to boost your NBA stock as far as you can, we need you to be an on-ball point guard. We need you to show that you can run the show. And then you're like, all right, I'll go back to college. And your coach is going, you're going to be off-ball. What? Now all of a sudden, he's maybe grabbing the ball and initiating, right? He's looking out for himself. It's a business now, remember that. And the coach might not be stoked with that. Another hypothetical would be if you are a undersized big, and the NBA's feedback is we're going to have to show that you can stretch and shoot, and we're going to have to show that you can defend smaller guys for us to fully invest in you. You go back to college, and the coach is going, all right, you're going to be playing the 5 for us this year in a small ball lineup, guarding centers. And you're going, well, that's not what I need to show. And again, just that little bit of friction. So now we ask, is it aligned or is it not aligned with Matt Abel in Carolina? Without insider knowledge, I don't have a scout or an NBA coach on the line. I think it's going to be aligned because I think UNC needs Matt Abel to be one of those dudes, right? There's going to be Terrence Brown, who is a high-volume scorer. Avdalas is going to be a great passing, taller perimeter player. Matt Abel, I think, is going to be asked to kind of do everything. And I'm not saying do everything. I'm saying not specialize in any one thing. He's going to have to create. He's going to have to bring the ball up occasionally. He's going to have to defend the opposing team's best perimeter player. He's going to have to score. He's going to have to shoot. He is the one that is kind of, again, I always relate things back to football. He's like the joker or the star of a defense, where it's like you're going to have to stop the run and you're going to have to cover. You have run stuffers. You have coverage guys, and then you have your robbers, your jokers, your stars, whatever you want to call them in your particular defense. So whatever the NBA asked Matt Abel to display this year, whatever they said, hey, we need to see a little bit more of this, I think he's going to have plenty of opportunities to do it while also showing the things that they're already excited about, which I think is mostly the physical ability. I know he never ended up starting for NC State. I'm not sure if that was the best decision that Will Wade has made. Certainly not the worst decision that Will Wade has made, but I don't think it was the best decision. But when he came in, there was a difference in speed, right? There was just it felt like, oh, look, they checked him in, and there's one guy running on fast forward. And that's just, being the level of prospect and the level of athlete that he is. I don't think UNC is going to do anything to curtail that. So I would say, for the most part, the development that the NBA asked for and the role that UNC is going to ask him to play, I think they're going to be aligned, which is the best news out of that situation. Elsewhere in Triangle basketball, NC State, this was Friday and then into the weekend, received 2 commitments. One, I think it was Friday, a New Hampshire guard, Kome Emuobar. We'll try that one out. I apologize if I mispronounced that. 6'5", 205-pound player. Averaged 9 points and 4.3 rebounds per game. Did have 11 points in 17 minutes versus Clemson. Depth, right? I think actually maybe the hardest part of the transfer portal, especially if you're doing nearly an entire roster overhaul, is finding the depth. There's, a certain level of player that we can all identify. It's like first-round picks in the draft. You look for the guys with everything, right? And then you promise them opportunity, and you promise them NIL money, and you get to negotiating. Then when you got to find like your 9th guy on the roster who you can't promise playing time, you might not have as much money, but you know, hey, you're an injury or two away from getting an opportunity, and then who knows? Or maybe next year down the road, who knows? Those guys aren't as easy to identify. And I'm not saying that there's 0% chance this player ends up contributing. Matter of fact, he could be a good chance he ends up contributing, but he's definitely not being promised the same things that like Paul McNeil Jr. was promised to return to NC State. So, yeah. It's important that you track down, find guys, whether it's the kind of this version, right, the lower mid majors that want to move up and just have the experience of playing high major and test themselves and try to prove themselves, or just somebody out there that is a little bit more comfortable not being featured. And then over the weekend, they received a commitment from a 6'9" Slovenian big, Robert Jurkovic. Again, I'll work on the pronunciations. They need size. And this is a 23-year-old that's been playing high-level basketball in Europe. If I'm not mistaken, he's played some national team games with Luka Doncic. So this is a guy that's been around really, really good basketball and could be expected to play more of a role. And I would expect when you're going for like the 23-year-old pros from overseas, you are doing so with the expectation of like high floor. You're doing so with the expectation of sturdy. I don't know if you're going in expecting this guy to be like, you know, a first-round NBA draft pick next year, an all-ACC performer, but what you are expecting him to be able to do is, you know, put his forearm into the back of a 19-year-old freshman 7-footer from some other team and drive them out to the three-point line and make them make their catches as far as away from the bucket as possible. And then stereotypically, you're probably expecting a European big to be able to shoot a little bit. And if you can do those two things, you're going to be worth your weight in gold to a team that's going to be playing in a conference with some gigantic teams. Duke, Carolina, Louisville, they're going to roll out 7-footers. Now, that's not to say they're slacking elsewhere, but you're going to have guys that are comfortable. And I'm not saying Jurkovic is or isn't, but you're going to have more than one, probably 3 or 4, that are comfortable bullying with guys taller than them. Because, I mean, State's not going to have 10 7-footers. You know what I mean? They're just not. Matter of fact, Duke, Carolina, and Louisville are kind of unusual in how many 6'10", 6'11", 7-footers they're going to have. And it's going to be very difficult for anyone to keep up with that. So what you need are stronger, if shorter, players with more experience that can be wily as they come.
And he can shoot a little bit, too, at least in this last season.
Fits the stereotype.
Yeah, in this last season. It wasn't a ton of volume from 3, 2.7 attempts per game, but he was shooting 41.9% from 3, 59% from the field. Has improved year over year, at least in terms of field goal percentage in his 3 years as a pro. But he's played fewer than 20 minutes per game in all of those seasons. So probably a lot of untapped potential there, but definitely some building blocks that they can work off of. And look, they'll definitely take that size in the front court.
Need it. I mean, right now, if you're above 6'10", and you're still in the transfer portal or you're in Europe, I assume you've heard from NC State. I like the team they're putting together, and when you kind of look at it as a whole, it's you know, the fit, I think, is making more sense. But you can't teach size, right? And occasionally you just need, I mean, we had a guy on one of my 1 year on my high school basketball team who was like 6'9", and our coach used to call him 5 fouls. Like that was the nickname for him. Like, hey, 5 fouls, you're in. And he knew, like, his thing was you're going to defend the biggest guy on the other team. You are going to try to block every shot that comes down. And if you foul him, all right. Like, it's not the end of the world. 5 fouls. If you can just give 5 fouls and make it difficult on the opposing team's bigs, there's value there. By the way, I did not come from a good high school basketball program, so you probably don't want to say it. Like, our coach may not have been the best motivator in the world. You might not want to nickname him that, but point still stands. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is a little college basketball news mixed in on a very busy hockey news day. But either way, we put all of that to the side at 4 o'clock because we have football at 4. We'll take a break. When we come back, football at 4. Don't go anywhere.
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Hey, it's Tim Donnelly here for Kalshi. The world's biggest soccer tournament has arrived, and you can trade the entire tournament on Kalshi. On Kalshi, you can trade every match from the opening stage all the way to the final. Right now, the home country, right, our country, USA, we're trading about 1.6% to win it all, meaning a $100 trade would pay you out buku dollars, hundreds and hundreds, if you think they can win the whole darn thing. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house, and as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code TIMD, that's TIMD with no spaces, to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi, trade on anything. 18 plus restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. That's kalshi.com/regulatory. Also, want to make sure everybody knows that if you have a gambling problem, call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. Football at 4 coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Indeed presents hires you can't afford to get wrong, like a data analyst.
Hey, what model did you use for these quarterly projections?
Astrology. If Mercury's in retrograde, sales tank. If Venus is rising, we crush Q4.
You built our revenue forecast off horoscopes?
Yeah, the Zodiac never lies.
This is the job for sponsored jobs. This is what happens when you don't sponsor your job on Indeed. Next time, get matched with quality candidates with Indeed sponsored jobs. Visit Indeed.com/hire now and sponsor your job today.
It's bow time. We know there's a lot of breakfast sandwiches out there, but only Bojangles has the legendary Cajun Filet Biscuit. Shake things up with a boldly seasoned chicken breast on a fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit with bow rounds and your choice of drink. So when you're craving something bold, something different, something that takes breakfast to a whole new level, the Cajun Filet Biscuit is waiting for you, along with crispy bow rounds and a drink. Order in the app or at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Time to satisfy your craving for Cajun with a Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuit. Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuits are served all day, every day. And with that biscuit, why not add Bo's Iced Coffee? That's right, Bo's Iced Coffee with sweet cream. Choose caramel or French vanilla. Bo's new Iced Coffee, a great way to sweeten your day. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio, WCMC HD1 Holly Springs, 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. The weekend pattern continues. We'll see variably cloudy skies this afternoon with scattered showers and storms and a high of 85. Mainly cloudy and warm tonight, 71. And then it's a hot one tomorrow at 88. It stays muggy with a chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 117 points today to 50,461. This hour of The Drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We are roughly 15 minutes away from opening up the phone lines for a Tuesday Soundoff, so have your thoughts and ideas ready for that. Anything you want to talk about? Obviously, hockey, NHL, college basketball, NFL, OTAs start today for the Carolina Panthers. It was a rainy OTAs for the Carolina Panthers, and we'll break down some of the reporting out of that tomorrow. But for right now, I referenced this last week, and I wanted to play it for you kind of all in one place, so you didn't have to read or have me recite, maybe even perform the quotes for you. Derrick Brown, one of the leaders of the Carolina Panthers, quickly becoming one of the longest tenured Carolina Panthers, and a cornerstone of the defense, was on the Green Light Pod with Chris Long, and there was some interesting word choice or some interesting narratives that he was trying to dispel about his quarterback, Bryce Young. So here is Derrick Brown talking about Bryce Young being the guy for the Panthers at quarterback.
Yeah, man, he's our guy. Like they said, he's our guy. And, we ride with 9 all the way through. And, that's one of those things that, man, people don't want to admit how good he's becoming because they have to go back and admit how wrong they were, right? So, I mean, as we all know, people don't like doing that. I think, too, like he took the benching and, man, he just came into work every single day and killed it. He didn't care. He went right back to doing what he does. And, to him, it was about playing football. And I'm going to be honest, like, I know everybody's got an opinion about him, but I would never want to be a quarterback in the NFL. It might be the worst job to have. It's the highest paying, but it is the worst job to have in the NFL. So, man, I salute Bryce every single day on, just dealing with all the outside noise and then still being able to come in there and be efficient in the work.
So let's I always say consider the source. So let's make sure we do that. That is a teammate talking about a teammate, right? So in the overwhelming majority of situations, you're not going to hear a teammate even issuing like concerns or whatever about a teammate. With that being said, if it weren't a teammate saying that, I would go, whoa, victory laps are almost never a good thing prematurely. And what I mean by that is, people don't want to admit how good he's become because they don't want to admit how wrong they were. I don't know if he has proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, let alone proven beyond like 51%, that people that were worried about him as a number 1 overall pick were wrong.
I knew this would be how you come at this, at this a topic of discussion.
It's still up in the air. It's still up in the air. I hope that the people that were super haters on Bryce, and some might describe me as that, I don't think so. But
our comment section certainly would say so.
I hope that fine. Let's pretend I am a hater of Bryce. Again, I don't agree with it, but we'll put that hat on. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not willing to say that group is wrong yet. A teammate should be gassing his guy up, giving confidence, feeding confidence, should be doing all of that. There's no world where a number 1 overall pick has proven anybody wrong prior to his team being willing to give him a second contract. I know they picked up his 5th-year option, but he is eligible for an extension right now. And as we've seen time and time and time again, when you make it obvious you're the dude for a franchise, they give you the contract extension after the 3rd year because that's the earliest they're allowed to, and they want to lock you up long term. If you haven't proven that, then you wait. If there's still, a little bit of internal debate happening, then you wait. So, yes, Bryce has improved. But let's not pretend he started where you would expect a number 1 overall pick to start. Saying there was room to improve. There was upward mobility. He has improved quite a bit. I hope to see him continue improving. But you can't just judge the highs. Our memories are funny that way. They remember, if you're a fan, you remember all the good times. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. The further you get away from it, the more you eliminate the stuff you don't want to remember. It's why people are always like, high school, 4 best years of my life, or college, 4 best years of my life, because you only remember the legendary party at your buddy's house where you dressed as, in togas and you talked with all the pretty girls or whatever you're romanticizing. What you don't remember is when you stayed up all night studying for a test and still got a D. Like, you don't remember that because that's in the past. It's not affecting you anymore. So you remember Bryce going toe-to-toe against Matt Stafford in the playoffs, and whoa. What you don't remember is the clunker he laid that made you have to watch the Saints-Falcons game to see if you even got in the playoffs. That's what I'm getting at. More audio from Derrick Brown, just so you hear the more from the conversation. Derrick Brown talking with Chris Long on the Green Light Pod on, you could argue, some of his proteges, some of the guys in the defensive front. Nick Scorton and Princely Umanmielen perhaps contributing this upcoming year on defense.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously coming in as a rookie, you got all these different things going on. You're trying to learn the playbook. Day in and day out, you're getting coaching, from the guys around you that are older, from the coach. So you got things running a million miles in your head. And I think, Nick stepped up to the challenge, man. Like, he soaked all of it in. I'm not quite sure how, but he soaked all of it up and, went out and executed at high levels on Sunday. He's one of the guys, like, man, I'm excited to see year two because, just seeing and working with him every single day, man, it's one of those things where he's like, he's like, I don't care, like, all right, like, hey. And then the thing is, it's a thing nowadays, like, right, like, this young kid's coming out, like, they get yelled at, it's kind of, hopefully they don't shut down, but, like, it's different. And, like, Nagy's like, yes, sir, okay, all right, let's go. Like, take the challenge. And I think, with Princely, and it's the same thing, man, like, they show up every single day to work. I think Princely doesn't quite yet know, like, what his body is capable of, but man, like, he is becoming, like, once he figures it out, man, like, he'll be that monster for many years to come.
Really interesting way to talk about Princely Umanmielen at the end there. He doesn't know what his body is capable of. That screams super duper high ceiling to me. And that's the mind games of where the mind games of a coach comes in. You have to feed not only confidence, but you have to help him unlock all of that with technique and everything else. But that is super duper high ceiling for Princely Umanmielen. Nick Scorton, I don't know if he'll ever be a Pro Bowler. Super young, so there's the chance there, right? There's still a lot of ways, a lot of time for him to grow, a lot of runway for him to get better. But I see him being just super solid in so many aspects of the game for a very, very long time.
Sounds like he has the pro mentality, at least according to Derrick Brown.
I could see him being just a super good rotational. One of the guys at the end of his career, you go like, he made how much money? Because he just kept getting deals a little bit bigger than you thought because teams recognize how much he helps winning without maybe getting all the flashy stats. But Princely Umanmielen, on the other hand, probably higher ceiling, lower floor, right? He might be a 10-plus sack guy, but he also, if he never puts it together, could be a little bit less impactful. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will be opening up the phone lines when we return. So we'll have a Tuesday sound-off. We want to hear from as many of you as possible. We'll also have a Canes Cup check-in with our very own Adam Gold and a Canes legend. Stick around for all of that coming up next.
Can't get enough of the Carolina Hurricanes? Check out my podcast, Iced Tea, hosted by me, Megan LaMontagne, as I take you behind the scenes and get exclusive stories about the team. This season, I've interviewed Seth Jarvis's brother, Caden, who talks about a young Jarvie growing up, longtime PA announcer Wade Minter, who spills the tea on how a mess-up made national news, and legendary color commentator Trip Tracy, just to name a few of the guests. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube.
You hear that? That's the sound of Pepsi Zero Sugar, the better tasting, more refreshing Zero Sugar Cola. Listen to that endless pour. If it sounds this good, just imagine how it tastes. So good. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Let your taste decide.
Stop by Handy Hugo's for great deals on your favorite Pepsi products. Head to Handy Hugo's today.
You like saving money, right? We all do. That's why Allstate just lowered the price of car insurance. Not, but wait, there's a catch. Lower. Actually lower. So if you're shopping around or just want to see how much you could save, check Allstate first for a new lower auto rate that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Not available in every state. Only applicable for new auto insurance business. Rates will vary by several factors, including how you purchase the policy. Potential savings vary. Allstate North American Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, bud. Why so glum?
Got laid off again.
Wow. You just can't keep a job, can you? You know what? You need to go to Sharky's.
They're hiring?
No, because they'd never hire you. Evidently, no one will. But Sharky's is a great place. We can play pool, throw darts. There's an outstanding patio, nice folks to visit with, great food. They've got it all.
Yeah, having a job isn't all it's cracked up to be anyway, so I'll try Sharky's.
Great decision, bud.
Sharky's, 5800 Raleigh Road. Maybe the greatest neighborhood bar in the world.
What does it mean to win this award to you?
It means a lot to me, just being recognized for all my hard work on and off the court.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's start lining up on the call-in line. Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326. Phone lines are open. Let's talk Canes. Let's talk Eastern Conference Finals. Let's talk Western Conference Finals, which, obviously, tonight, Colorado desperately needs a winner. They're donezo. Vegas trying to punch their ticket. Let's talk NBA playoffs. Let's talk college basketball, NFL. Let's talk whatever you want to talk about. Heister Automotive Group hotline is open now. Max will line you up. So call in 919-860-5326. If you call in, you don't get through, don't worry. Keep calling. As lines open up, we'll do our best to get to absolutely as many of you as possible. Again, the phone number, 919-860-5326. While Max gets the first bunch lined up, we'll play for you our 99.9 The Fan Cup Check-In. It's time for our Cup Check-In with Adam Gold, served up by Carolina Ale House. Earlier, Adam had a chance to visit with Eric Cole about everything going on in the Canes world. 2-1, Game 3, all of it. So let's go ahead and take a listen, starting now.
I thought tonight was probably the best game that they've played this series. While they're still giving up a little bit more than they probably would like to, they can clean that up, and they'll find a way to be able to handle that. But I felt like it was going to be easier for them to go on the road and play at the Bell Center than it was for games 1 and 2 at home.
Really?
So it's a well-known fact that when you're playing in Montreal, if you can, somehow take the crowd out of the game, or you score early, their fans will kind of turn on them a little bit. And I've experienced it from both sides of both sides of the away team and the home team in this aspect, where I think even one time when I was playing there, I was like, well, the booing isn't exactly helping in an interview. So you can kind of use their crowd against them, which, it's just how it is there. They're very savvy fans, but they're very, they're very much in tune with what's going on and how the game is going and where their team sits or where their team is at or where the momentum is. And they'll get nervous if you give them the opportunity to.
That, once again, was our Cup check-in served up by Carolina Ale House. Want to hang out with Stormy and the Canes crew? Head to Carolina Ale House's Cary location during the playoffs for official viewing parties. I will say, I think it was the second goal for the Canes last night. I even on TV was like, oh, everybody got real quiet, which is always fun in away arenas. With that being said, and thank you once again to Eric and Adam for our Canes Cup check-in, as well as Carolina Ale House. It is now time to head to the Heister Automotive Group hotline for our Tuesday Soundoff. We normally do this on Mondays, but due to the holiday, we didn't have a show yesterday, and I want to hear from all of you. So we start with, on the Heister Automotive Group hotline, 919-860-5326, Bob in Selma. Bob, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Nice, my man. Number one on the show. First off, I want to give you a shout-out for Sunday being on ESPN National Radio. I tried to call in to talk a little hockey with you, but it just kept ringing through. Next thing I want to get to is what we known as this Canes forecheck is swarming around like a bunch of hornets jacked up on an 8-ball of cocaine and 3 gallons of Mountain Dew, hitting everything and stinging everything that's in its path. Boys, keep it up. Keep hitting them. Lane Hudson's starting to hurt. You can see it. Caulfield, he's getting the business. We're giving the business to all of them. You better bring the big boys up. And you let them little boys run around with us. We're going to hurt them.
Hey, I'm with it, Bob. Shout out to Svetch. Keep it going. Keep the energy up, Bob. Let's go.
For his big boy time showing up. Everybody wants to yell and holler about the top line not doing that. Man, look, they're out there bodying people. Aho's been bodying people. Svetch been bodying people. Jarvis is twisting people up, skating up and down the ice. And then let's not leave out that fourth line. Oh, Lord. Montreal, you better figure it out real damn quick because, boys, you got to run more than 2 against these horses. This is a Cat 5 hurricane inbound in you. And the thing is, we're going to drag you to deep water. That's all I got to say, boys. Let's go Canes in 5.
Hey, there you go, Bob. I appreciate the energy. That is a hot start to the Tuesday Soundoff. But I like, obviously high energy, Canes excitement, everything there for Bob. I do want to point out, like, he just talked about how the Canes were the more physical team and the other team is little boys and the other team needs to, bring their big boy, whatever he was saying. That doesn't happen often for the Carolina Hurricanes at this point in the postseason, right? Years past, it's been everyone's worried about their physicality, not bringing the physicality to the other team. So, that's a worthy development and a worthy addition to the, well, how was this year's Canes team different conversation? If they're bringing the physicality to Montreal and making them dive and making them get frustrated, it's a whole different world. Matt in Raleigh's next up on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. I said you guys get to steer the conversation. Matt wants to steer it towards the New York Knicks. Matt, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hi, thanks for having me. Well, with the success of the Knicks just steamrolling the Eastern Conference right now and getting back to the finals first time since '99, I know they have some rest for a week. And would I love to see a Knicks-Spurs rematch and redemption? Yes. But hopefully without Wemby. Not saying I want him to be hurt, but, I want your take on, obviously, what the Knicks need to keep doing to keep their foot on the gas, and who do you think that they would match up better and have a chance of winning a title over for the first time in over 50 years, I believe it is?
Yes, 73, I believe, is the last time they won. Yep. So, Matt, we appreciate the call. I'll let you go and give you an answer here. First of all, to mix the last 2 calls, Bob referenced I did some ESPN stuff. We talked quite a bit about the NBA playoffs when I was on ESPN. And also, I can say this here because we're all friends here. I did correct I won't say the name, the co-host who was saying Ehlers instead of Nikolai Ehlers. I just did it off air. I didn't. There was no need to be mean about it. So everybody that was being mean to me on Twitter, I heard it and I took care of it. But talk about the Knicks. Listen, I think that they're not a great matchup for the Thunder or the Spurs. But the whole thing the Knicks have now is they like punch above their weight class. So Jalen Brunson versus Shai. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, I should say, would be really exciting to me. A guy who is just like a balled up fist against a guy that falls a lot. That would be really exciting for me. I don't think you want anything to do with Wemby. That's just the way I look at it. Next up, we go to Corey and Wendell. Corey wants to sound off on the Carolina Hurricanes. Corey, welcome to the show. Go ahead.
Hey, Tim, I appreciate it once again. I want to say I'm a newer hockey watcher.
Okay.
I've always kind of liked the Canes just because they're North Carolina. I'm North Carolina teams, but over last year and this year, man, I feel like they're just becoming another team for me just to be a diehard fan of.
Mm-hmm.
And I have thoroughly enjoyed watching NHL this year more than the NBA. I feel like aside watching Wemby, there's nothing else to watch in the NBA. I feel like whoever the Knicks play, they're going to lose to. But I'm really enjoying this hockey, man. I think the only thing I would suggest being a new fan is hey man, why don't we widen the goal up about a foot long and about a foot high and get a little bit more scoring out of this. I mean, it takes a long time to score a goal, and it's exciting when it's scored. But, man, I'm really enjoying it, man, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the series, and let's go Canes.
Let's go Canes. Appreciate the call, Corey. I can tell you right now there are a lot of hockey purists right now that are cringing at what
Corey,
you just said.
Yeah, he's rehashing conversations from like 2015.
Yep.
Because there was a whole debate. I mean, I think Jamie Benn led the league in scoring with 85 points or something.
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually, if he thinks the scoring is kind of low, there's been a scoring explosion in the NHL over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Connor McDavid had 150 points 3 years ago, and there's regularly now we're getting guys that have 120, 130. I'm glad you started watching now instead of in 2014, 2015, Corey, because you may not have stuck around, especially if you were watching the Canes around then, because it was a tough time.
Also, I'm not as new as Corey, and I've said this before, I didn't grow up playing hockey. I grew up, part of my childhood, I was in Hawaii, right? Not a lot of ice rinks in Hawaii. So, again, not nearly as new as Corey to all of this, but I know kind of the on-ramp and the evolution of becoming a diehard hockey fan. And what I can tell you is this, the more you get into it, the more you appreciate a really well-played 2-1 game. When you're a new hockey fan, you love the 6-4s. The more you watch and the more you understand and the more you can appreciate the nuance, the more you see a 6-4 and usually go, that's a pretty sloppy game. And you can see a 2-1 and be really excited about it, or a 3-2 OT game and be really excited about it. So my advice to Corey is don't widen the net, just stay the course, and eventually you'll be right there. Next up, Edward and Wendell wants to sound off on the Canes. Edward, welcome to the show. Welcome back, I should say. What do you have for us?
Great game last night. Crazy. One thing I'll say is game one, I noticed in game one, and I still keep noticing, we get on the back check. We go to one guy, and we kind of drift towards that side, and it opens up the other side over the pass. But I feel like we try to combat that with a bunch of aggressiveness, which is good because we need to get back to series round one against the Senators, hitting them 500 million times a game. And then I think the forecheck's been great, but I really think we need to work on D because even though Freddie's been great, right now in this series he's not played his best. But all the time, if you're a Hurricanes goalie, you're only going to see three shots a game, and they're going to be the three greatest shots you'll ever see in a game. And that's what I tell my dad all the time. Freddie's got to be prepared to become the best goalie in the world if he wants to stop everything. So yeah, I think we just need to change a little bit of strategy, but I don't think we need to change that much. And I think we need to get the first line scoring a little more, but they did do good last night.
All right. A lot to get to there, Edward. Appreciate it as always. Listen, game one, I don't want to attribute all of the sloppy play to they were coming off a long break, but it's part of it. They gave up 6 goals in game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. In no other game, including the last 2, have they given up more than 2 goals. So I think what it shows is the way they play, and some of what Edward said applies, right? When you're back checking or you're really aggressive and you might leave someone open on the backside, that only really works or only is an issue if they can make the clean pass to the open guy. So if you're aggressive enough, if you're physical enough, and there's an open player, but they can't pass it to him, it's not an issue. But if you're just a hair off, right? If your rotations, if your adjustments are just a hair off, you can get cooked. And it was obvious they were just a hair off in game one. But other than that, they've been able to handle it. And Freddie's been able to handle it. And his save percentage will go down on the games where he only faces 10 or 12 shots, because if they're all super high quality shots, just what you're not getting is the extra 20 bad shots that you kind of stop ho-hum, and that just boosts your save percentage, right? When the Canes are firing away from distance and they're hitting Dobesh in the chest, he's getting a save for that. Freddie's not getting any of those because those shots aren't getting through. So I don't know if Freddie needs to change all that much. Just keep staying the course, and I think you'll get your occasional really impressive save, and then that should be enough. Let's go to Linda in Roanoke, friend of the show. Linda, welcome back. Go ahead and sound off. The floor is yours.
Hey, Tim. I just have a concern about Mike Maniscalco having a heart attack every time the Canes score.
Or perhaps Trip Tracy. I don't know if you've seen the booth videos, but Trip Tracy, he gets a little physical after the really big goals. He's smacking Mike's arm and giving him chest bumps and everything. So maybe we need to get them in some hockey pads.
I think so, absolutely. Wonderful game last night. I can't watch the games because I don't have TNT, but I listened to you all, and I'm like, oh my God, they won! So stay the course. I can't suggest anything. I just think we need to keep going. I did have one question, though. Who would you prefer the Canes play between Vegas and Colorado?
All right. Well, Linda, as always, thank you for listening. We tremendously appreciate your support. We'll let you go here, and I'll answer that question. Right now, it looks like Vegas, so I want Vegas. Right? A very healthy Colorado team is, I think, obviously the best team in the West, as they've shown all year, but they're not anywhere near very healthy. So if I could, like magic wand and put them in the Stanley Cup Finals with the injuries they've been dealing with not getting any better, maybe that would increase your chances of winning due to the injuries, but that doesn't feel right either. Like, I want a healthy, great opponent, great series, and I want the Canes to win, and it looks like Vegas is the most likely to give them that, and they're up 3-0, so I don't know if I'd spend much time debating it. Next up, by the way, Heaster Automotive Group hotline is open, 919-860-5326. I know it is Tuesday, but we didn't get to do a Monday sound off yesterday, so we're doing a Tuesday sound off today. We want to hear from you. There it is. You know what the horn means. Next up, waiting patiently, Isaiah in Wake Forest wants to sound off on the Canes and the NBA. Let's see how he weaves this one. Isaiah, welcome to the show. Sound off, please.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. I'll start with the NBA playoffs real quick. First, just big props to the New York Knicks. They completely destroyed the Cavs. The Cavs were never in that series. Jalen Brunson actually played well. I was actually impressed with his performance. Cat decided to play decent, and, of course, OG Anunoby and Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges did their stuff. So now they get the honors of losing to the winner of the Spurs OKC series, which I would say is a top 10 playoff series of all time, 100%. And then with the Canes real quick, I think we're going to see Bussy sometime in these next few games. I'm a little concerned with Freddie's performance. He played really well second and third period. That first goal is a goal you got to have. No traffic. He just beat him glove side. I really didn't like him allowing that goal. And then Svechnikov and Aho, they're looking good. Just hopefully we can get some goals out of them. And I love the booth videos with Mike and Tripp. Those are hilarious.
I agree.
Thanks for taking my call.
Of course, Isaiah. Few things. One, felt a little dismissal of Jalen Brunson. Like, oh, he actually played well. He's he's on a pretty bananas plus-minus run through the NBA playoffs.
Jalen Brunson is kind of like on a run of like cementing himself as an all-time Knick right now. But sure, oh wow, he actually played well.
Actually, just felt like there was a little dismissal there. Of course, OG Anunoby's going to play well, but Jalen Brunson actually played well.
Seems like a wild statement.
But yes, the Knicks did destroy Cleveland, and I think Cleveland gave up the last game and a half. Freddie, I will agree with you that the first goal is one you'd like for him to have.
Although it was a missed assignment. Like Martinook got down low. I'm not really sure who he was looking to cover there, and regardless of is there traffic or not, that's an NHL player that's wide open with tons of space. They're gonna score like a good percentage of the time from there.
The view that they went to on the broadcast behind the goal in slow motion looked a lot like, oh my goodness, that's like playing catch with a baseball at your house. Just put your glove up and there you. But it's obviously the slow motion doesn't do it justice. I think you'd like to have him make that save, but what are they, 11 games in now, and you can pretty much name every soft goal that he's even possibly soft goal that he's given up. You're going to take that in the NHL playoffs.
Yeah, no, the only one that sticks out to me, I think it was the first goal Ottawa scored in Game 2, where it was like from the 5-hole, it was from the sidewall. Other than that, yeah, it's been
like think of how crazy
solid.
that is. You're going back to the first series, Game 2, and then maybe this one, Game 1 of this series, you would have liked to him stopped one or two of those goals, but none of them individually were bad. It was
just a full defensive breakdown.
It was
in
just
the first period
volume.
of that game.
You'd be like, I don't know, get one, but that's not fair.
He's calling for the. Because there's so many parallels for 2006, right? He's calling for the Martin Gerber game that he was in Game 4 of, I think it was the Eastern Conference Final against Buffalo, where he came in and got a 4-0 shutout and came back to Raleigh 2-2. Now, of course, Carolina's got the 2-1 lead heading into Game 4 of this series. So
I don't hate a bussy game. Don't get me wrong. And Rod Brindamore, not Martinook. Rod Brindamore told us going into the second series, like the plan was to get Bussy a game in the second series, but then he said the plan was also to get Bussy a game in the first series, and it changes, right? So Freddie simply played so well, and they took care of business so quickly, they never got to the Bussy game. This series is already guaranteed to go longer than either of the first two, so maybe we get a Bussy game, which would be an awesome opportunity for Bussy based on his story. So I don't hate a Bussy game, but I just don't think it's because, Freddie did anything that dramatically needs a kickstart. It just means, Freddie's played a lot of games, and he's a guy that might need a break. Back to the call-in line on a Tuesday Soundoff. Pat in Durham wants to sound off on the Canes. Pat in Durham, welcome to the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Hey, before I do that, props to Ellie and Avit. Thanks for all you've done for NC State, and we get one for the Gipper series winner.
Through the
for the college baseball tournament. Way to go, Canes! A couple of nail biters. Sure would like to get some sleep, But anyway, the only concern I have is that we played about the best game we've played I thought last night. I mean, we were just everywhere, and they took us to overtime. So I just, just keep it up, and if we go into when we come back home 3-1, I think maybe Bussy might get a start then.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And obviously, we second the props to Coach Avent. I also want to point out, and this is a credit to Montreal, right? They're in the Eastern Conference Finals too. They're a really good team. One of their strengths, and it's a weird strength to have, is they can win games while getting severely outshot. They have when they're doing what they believe they are good at, right? When they are executing their strengths, they don't need a million shots. They've got some dudes that can score, right? And we can name them: Slavkovsky, obviously Caulfield, Suzuki, like on and on. They've got some guys that can absolutely score. So, yeah, you outshot, you dominated, you had the high danger chances, you did so much so well. But Montreal doesn't need a lot of air to take you to overtime. They don't. And also, it's probably a lesson, right? When you get those power play opportunities, you got to do something with them. Because if you don't, Montreal can keep up. Like, there are little things that the Canes, as if power plays little things, there are things the Canes can do to dramatically improve the chances of not going to overtime against Montreal if things go the same path that they went in game 3. That's just hockey. I've said this so many times. As somebody that played football as my main sport, like all growing up and in college, you don't dominate a football game and lose 21-7. Sometimes you dominate a hockey game and lose 3-1. And it's easily the most frustrating part of hockey to me. You get it like 2 bad puck luck bounces, and all of a sudden you're down multiple goals, even though you've played better than the other team for the overwhelming majority of the time. It's part of the mentality you have to have in hockey is just keep doing what you're doing if you're playing well, regardless of what the score is saying. We have 2 more here. We'll take the last 2. They've been waiting, and we've had fun with everybody. So let's get to 2 so they have some room to breathe. Chase and Clayton, you are up next. You want to sound off on the Canes? Go right ahead.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. A couple things I wanted to point out. Of course, very proud of the Canes. The first thing is just, man, Nikolai Ehlers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my goodness. I've been watching them, honestly, and it's funny that y'all mentioned earlier about back in like 2014, 2015. That's actually when I became a fan. So I didn't have the fandom experience that everyone had in 06, who's been here for such a long time. But one thing that I've really noticed over the past, couple seasons is that you never had someone who could go into a game, especially one of these crucial playoff games, and just finish. And for him to go into this, especially his first year as a Cane, and do that, it speaks volumes about what they were seeing for him and his future here. And the second thing I wanted to point out was just kind of a little bit about the Freddie back and forth. I mean, I can see what people are saying when it comes down to the nitty gritty of like, you only gave up 2 or 3 goals on 9 or 10 shots. But I think it's something to note that the mindset of a hockey goalie or any goalie who seems like they're on an island for the entire game is a lot more difficult than people realize. And holding that mentality and that mindset and that game of saying, hey, I still have to be in this, even though I'm technically really not, because of how much I have a good defense in front of me. So, but we keep watching. Go Canes. I just wanted to point those 2 things out.
All right. Appreciate it. I like the everybody, and I don't think you need to do this because I am not a like gatekeeper of fandom at all, but I like hearing everybody's like when they joined the group, so all of their experiences. And then the Nikolai Ehlers thing. It is insane, and I saw other people discussing this during the lead up to Game 3, so it was obviously in reaction to Game 2. How in the heck has Nikolai Ehlers never had a 30-goal season? How in the heck is that guy's points career high 71 this year? I know that they had some deep teams and his role was whatever it was with Winnipeg, but when you have that in your bag of tricks, that second goal where you're splitting the defenders and wheeling around, or when you have that moxie to score the overtime goal, seems like there should be an 80 or 90 point season in there somewhere. And he hasn't done it yet, but I mean, leveling up in the postseason will build your confidence a little bit. And then the Freddie, I mean, I think we talked a bit with Brian Boucher about this on whatever day it was, Thursday. Every goalie has their, like, unless you're getting 20 non-high danger looks, with excellent blue line play in front of you, there's slightly different challenges for everything that you're facing, right? You don't want to see 50 shots, but you probably don't want to see 10. Now, I think you'd rather see 10 than 50, unless all 50 are weak and the 10 are grade A's. Like, there's different challenges for all of it. And Freddie, I think, has done a pretty good job navigating those challenges, and his are different than what Dobesh is facing and different than everybody else in the postseason as well. Howard in Raleigh is going to round us out here on a Tuesday Sound Off. Howard in Raleigh, welcome to the show. Please go ahead and sound off.
Hot dog, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for taking the call.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, two quick things, and one of them is as I'm just reading all the junk going on social media, it seems to me that the Canes have yet to reach their top gear, number one. So I'd love some thoughts of yours on that. I feel like they've still got range to grow. Second is it just me, or is William Carrier just continuing to get better and better and better?
That two great questions. I'll do my best to answer them for you. Thank you for the call, Howard. They have yet to reach their top gear. It's not a yes or no. I can't give you. Some have. Like, you can't look at me and say the first two rounds of the postseason weren't the top gear for the Stankoven line. Like, that's the top gear for Logan Stankoven, Jackson Blake, and Taylor Hall. I think the fourth line is perhaps right in their top gear right now. Eric Robinson is scoring. Jankowski's doing a lot of really good things. Pretty solid in the faceoff circle as well. And Carrier, who you just brought up, he hasn't seen a hit he doesn't like this postseason. There are guys who I don't think have hit their top gear, right? And I don't think top line obviously hasn't been as productive scoring the puck as we'd like. I think guys like Martinook at times have had weird decisions, particularly on their defensive assignments, but that line's playing really, really well too. So I guess what I'm getting at here is the one of the beauties of the Carolina Hurricanes, one of the best things of the Carolina Hurricanes, the way they're constructed is, I don't know if they're ever going to be everybody hitting their top gear at the same time. What you hope for is enough are hitting their top gear that you win the games, and then as somebody else, goes into a dip, somebody that was in a dip comes into a hot streak, and there's always enough riding the top of the roller coaster to win. So it's like when your depth is one of your main, if not your absolute main strength, the entire team being on their top gear is not possible. But there's really no one that you can't sustain at least a little dip from. At least that's the way I hope to look at it. Because, listen, like if Aho, Jarvis, Svetch start lighting it up from this point forward, that's fantastic, and probably means you could sustain a little bit of a slump from the fourth line, or as a little bit quieter from the Stankoven line. Like, there's you pick me up, I pick you up is kind of how they handle things. Thank you to everybody that called in for a Tuesday Sound Off instead of a Monday Sound Off, since we didn't have a show yesterday due to the holiday. We do have a game of Copper Drop coming up next, but first, Tim Donnelly here for Maynard Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, all of it. Something's messed up in your house, don't ignore it. Right? Every time you turn on your air conditioner, you hear a loud ka-chunk, 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 or it sounds like your air conditioner is working too darn hard. Well, just call Maynard Service Company. And the same true for your plumbing, anything electrical that's going to give you a little bit of pause. Peace of mind is what we're trying to give you. So Maynard Service Company, whether it's an emergency, something's up, something's broken, needs to be fixed now, or you want to get a maintenance or just a quick check over, the number to call is 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993, or visit them online at MaynardServices.com. That's MAYNOR Services.com. When we come back, Copper Drop, we're going to play it. Stick around.
Need more Stanley Cup chatter, Canes fans? Listen afternoons with Adam Gold in the Drive for our Cup Check-In, served up by Carolina Ale House. We talk with hockey's best, past and present, bringing you the latest insight on the chase for Lord Stanley's Cup. It's the Cup Check-In on 99.9 The Fan, served up by Carolina Ale House. Come to Carolina Ale House for the official Carolina Hurricanes viewing parties throughout the playoffs. Visit CarolinaAleHouse.com/Canes to see the schedule.
If you think you or someone close to you is having a stroke, we have two words for you. Be fast. B for balance, E for eyes, F is in face, A for arms, S for speech, T for time to call 911. Look for changes in balance, vision, or speech, weakness in one arm, a drooping face. Learn the signs at wakemed.org/stroke, because every second counts.
TST is coming back.
The world's biggest 7v7 soccer festival is coming back to Wake Med Soccer Park in Cary, May 27th through June 1st. Watch stars like Landon Donovan, Hope Solo, and Chad Ochocinco compete for $3 million. With over 150 matches, the fan festival zone, and nonstop action, there's nothing else like it. Get tickets now for the world's most electrifying soccer festival at tst7v7.com.
It's bow time. We know there's a lot of breakfast sandwiches out there, but only Bojangles has the legendary Cajun Filet Biscuit. Shake things up with a boldly seasoned chicken breast on a fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit with bow rounds and your choice of drink. So when you're craving something bold, something different, something that takes breakfast to a whole new level, the Cajun Filet Biscuit is waiting for you, along with crispy bow rounds and a drink. Order in the app or at Bojangles today. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Time to satisfy your craving for Cajun with a Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuit. Bojangles Cajun Filet Biscuits are served all day, every day. And with that biscuit, why not add Bo's Iced Coffee? That's right, Bo's Iced Coffee with sweet cream. Choose caramel or French vanilla. Bo's new Iced Coffee, a great way to sweeten your day. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
If you've ever reached for a cheers when your favorite song comes on, you're ready to embrace the haze with Hazy Little Thing from Sierra Nevada. Hazy, citrusy, smooth, juicy but not sweet, hoppy but not bitter, America's best-selling hazy IPA for good reason. Hazy Little Thing, enjoy responsibly. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Always adding stuff. Canes Corner obviously takes place there. Pre-game, post-game, Canes talk from this show, the Adam Gold Show, all of our podcasts. There's a ton of content there. We want you to be a part of it. And we will, later this week, as we do every week, have feedback frenzies, which are largely us grabbing the best comments from under the videos that we post there and having them start conversations and responding to them live here on air. So if you want to be a part of it, we'd love to hear from you. 99.9 The Fan on YouTube, and subscribe when you check us out. With that being said, here right now, it's not a feedback frenzy. It's a different game we play. It's called Cop or Drop.
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
Max, what do you got for us? What are we copping and or dropping here today?
Alrighty, so obviously the big story of the day, Carolina Hurricanes lead the Eastern Conference Final 2-1 after last night's overtime win, in which Taylor Hall added a goal to his team-leading point total. He's got 13 points through 11 playoff games. Cop or drop, Taylor Hall should be a front-runner for the Conn Smythe Trophy.
Interesting. Obviously, when you parlay odds, the odds of one thing happening impact the odds of the next thing happening. If you try to parlay, let me explain this in a way that's not just me yammering. If you try to parlay like Taylor Hall one or more goals with Jackson Blake one or more assists, you're not going to get the true full value of the parlay, because they're like, well, if one of those is happening, the other is much more likely to happen. The Canes are minus 110 or minus 105, depending on which sports book you look at, to win the Stanley Cup. I actually think that's too rich. That's too short of the odds. But just based on, you gotta respect Montreal, and Vegas is looking strong, and if Vegas doesn't make it, it's because Colorado picked it up. But anyway. With that being said, if they're minus 110, you got to raise the odds of the Conn Smythe to be someone on the Canes. So it's kind of weird to see, even with Vegas 3-0 in their series, the Canes are the betting favorite to win the Cup, but Mitch Marner and some Vegas guys are higher up on the Conn Smythe odds. I don't know if Hall would, I think Freddie's the best bet on the Canes just because he's been in net for every game, and they're giving up outside of game 1 2 goals or less every game this entire postseason. So what am I copping? He should be the favorite or a favorite?
Just a front runner.
He
kind of is.
I'll cop that, yeah. I mean, he should be top 4, and top 4 to me is a front runner, so yeah, I'm copping.
He currently is the third favorite at plus 850. Mitch Marner, incredibly short odds at this point. It makes sense since he's leading the playoffs in scoring. He's plus 180. Frederick Anderson actually second at plus 500 as of today. At least that is according to Yahoo Sports. So something to keep an eye on. Obviously, the team's likelihood to make it to the final with Vegas basically being assured a spot based on the odds of coming back from 3-0. Makes sense that their top scorer would be in first. But
I will say, if you look at where all of the front runners began the postseason, Taylor Hall's coming from furthest out. Like, he's the one closing with the most aggressive momentum. Even like a Logan Stankoven was higher above him. And Marner and Freddie, just by the nature of the positions and their roles on their team, were much higher up than Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall started as a long shot, and he's closed those odds in a big way.
Jack Eichel, by the way, a lot of value at plus 2,000, I have to say. The fact that he's lower down at this point than Jakub Dobish, I think is interesting to me. But nevertheless. But speaking of Jack Eichel and the Vegas Golden Knights, they will be playing in Western Conference Final Game 4 tonight against the Colorado Avalanche. Vegas has a 3-0 series lead, and Colorado is dealing with a laundry list of injuries. Cale Makar coming back from a shoulder injury. Nathan MacKinnon took a shot off the knee in the last game, did not skate this morning, but is expected to play. Coverage of that game also can be found right here on 99.9 The Fan. Pre-game coverage starting at 8:30 for a 9 o'clock puck drop. So copper drop, Tim. Vegas is going to complete the sweep tonight and clinch their berth in the Stanley Cup Final.
I tended to... The hard part is I tend to go with the most desperate team in these situations, which obviously is Colorado. The issue being when you're up 3-0 in what was three goals to 0, not 3-0 in the series. When you're up 3 goals to 0 in what should have been an equally desperate game and you aren't able to close that, I may go back on that a little bit. So I'm going against my traditional pick here, and I'm taking Vegas to close it out. So I'm copping, and it is a real just like, I don't know, air out of the balloon that injuries are playing such a big part in that series, because it just makes it unsatisfying, right? The Eastern Conference, I don't care how, by hook, by crook, you name the way. As long as the Canes make it out, I'm happy. Western Conference, I'm more of just like a entertain me style fan, and injuries take away from the entertainment. Like, I mean, how many times in that broadcast can they cut to just Nathan MacKinnon with a frown on his face on the bench? And it's just like, that's not exciting for anybody, right? And he's flexing his knee, and they're like, oh, he's bending his knee. That's not fun. So it's a bummer, but I think Vegas closes it out.
Colorado's season ending in a way that people around here have seen maybe one too many times with the Carolina Hurricanes. So unfortunate for them, but glad that it's not Carolina going down 3-0 in the conference final this time around. We'll shift over to the hardwood. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Matt Abel announced that he is withdrawing from the draft, coming back to play at UNC next year, joining a basically fully rebuilt roster under first-year UNC coach Michael Malone. We know last year, which would ended up being Hubert Davis's final season, they ended up losing in the first round, blowing a lead to VCU in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So cop or drop, Carolina will make it further in the tournament in Michael Malone's first season as coach than they did this year.
Further in the tournament this year than last year? I'm copping. That's not to say they're more talented, but don't forget Caleb Wilson got hurt. That's a massive blow to any team. And I was just listening to a podcast with Ryan Russillo, who's connected in the NBA world. He said he's had NBA decision makers tell him they have Caleb Wilson as high as number 2 on their board, which would be over either DeBonsa or Peterson, and Boozer, and Acuff, and Wagler, and all these other guys.
Can I say something though? It was controversial, especially around here. I don't know if Caleb Wilson is going to be that great of an NBA player.
Why?
He can't shoot.
Yet.
See, people say that about project guys all the time. How many of them actually develop a jump shot?
He's 70+ from the free throw line, which is the best indicator. Also, I think worst case scenario, he is a wildly athletic, great defender that can rebound and finish at the bucket.
That's more of what I see, but I just don't see drafting that above Boozer or Peterson or DeBonsa.
I think the top 4, the best pick in the draft is Chicago Bulls picking 4th because they don't have to make a decision. I think the top 4 are locked and loaded, and they just go, whichever one's there, we're going to draft. I would tear my hair out if I were a GM that had to decide between Boozer and Wilson because of what you just said. I think Boozer's floor is as high as we've seen, and I think Wilson's ceiling is as high as we've seen. Also, I mean, how much of a three-point shooter does Wilson have to be? 35% to unlock unbelievable top tier. Can't get to 35%. Or put the opposite would be put on 30 more pounds and be Giannis. Like, there's paths there.
If he needs to get the 35%, but he didn't even shoot 26% from the college three-point line. I know he didn't really shoot a lot, but
and for part of that, he had a broken hand.
One game.
I think he'll. Again, I don't know if he'll ever be a great shooter, but all he has to do is make you close out. If he's a good enough shooter that you have to close out on him, he's blowing by you and dunking on somebody. But regardless of his NBA prospects, wildly important college basketball player that left their team. So
I think there's no doubt they would have gone further if he were healthy.
So I think that this upcoming year, they'll have a really unique team. I'm interested to see how the team plays like as a fit this year. But I think they have enough talent to do something. I think they're probably a top 25 team right now. I'm not saying top 10, but ranked. If not ranked, also receiving votes. And I think that's good enough. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's a little copper drop. Thank you to Max for running that. When we come back, we'll run our way through the starting 5. Don't go anywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
Until we pay Bryce Young, I need to see him actually be the reason why Carolina wins multiple games. It's not that he can be a quarterback that allows you to win. I need him to be the reason you do win. And that means maybe multiple games with 200 or more passing yards or 300 or more passing yards. When we get to that point, then you can pay him top quarterback money.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Life's great stories are built on yes and. Yes to the big game and the private suite. Yes to the beach and sailing offshore. Yes to traveling the country and exploring new ones. With the new Millionaire for Life from the North Carolina Education Lottery, you can say yes to $1 million now and every year for a lifetime. Millionaire for Life. Winning is just the beginning. Drawing 7 days a week. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 8.47. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me something simple and true. All I need is sunshine and that cool, refreshing Mountain Dew. So give me my good friends, give me a
Grab some ice-cold Mountain Dew today.
Mountain Dew.
Stop by Handy Hugo's for great deals on your favorite Mountain Dew products. Head to Handy Hugo's today.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-292-4541 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-292-4541. That's 800-292-4541. What do you have to lose? Call 800-292-4541. Again, 800-292-4541.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Eagle Leasing Storage Studio. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Kat Campbell. The chance for a shower or storm early tonight, then lows dip into the lower 70s overnight. Wednesday, highs are in the upper 80s, plus it's humid. There will be the chance of an isolated storm, but plenty of dry hours throughout the day.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day down 118 points to 50,461.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Tuesday. By the way, tomorrow, Game 4 Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, you can hear it right here on 99.9 The Fan. Pre-game show, Storm Watch with Adam Gold, an hour before. Whole thing. It's all right here, 99.9 The Fan, as it has been all year. And shout out to Mike Maniscalco and Trip Tracy. They got a few shout outs during our Tuesday Soundoff earlier. The only place you can hear those guys is 99.9 The Fan, either over the airwaves on the radio or on the 99.9 The Fan app. And appropriately, they're getting a lot of love for the way they're handling things. And obviously, we know that. They're on our network all the time. But 99.9 The Fan for all the Canes coverage. Know that. With that being said, it's probably similar to where we're going to start our starting five. We always start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Off the boards, Miller comes in. Backhand chance out in front. Dover switch. They score! They score! It's Taylor Hall on the doorstep and comes through with a big goal. Carolina gets the lead back. It's 2-1.
How about it? Canes win Game 3 last night. Taylor Hall scored. It's a good one. Ehlers had 2 the previous game. There's a couple good ones. Ghost scored last night. It's another good one. Shane Gostisbehere. They had 6 goals in their last 2 games. I want to briefly here run through the Canes' depth, which I think is one of, if not the star of the postseason thus far for the Carolinas. For the Carolina Hurricanes would be a better way to say that. They have a goal from the Stankoven line. They have a goal from the top line. They have a goal from the blue line. They have a goal, 2 of them, from the Stahl line in the previous game. They have a goal from the 4th line with Eric Robinson. There are contributions coming from everywhere, coming from every different angle. Keandre Miller and Sean Walker are playing great. Slavin and Chatfield playing great. Nikishin and Gostisbehere, I mean, the statistics and analytics maybe don't love them as much as the first 2, but that's a really high bar to jump over. They're playing really well and bringing something else. Nikishin showed up yesterday with the green light. The guy was firing away, and I loved it. Keandre Miller firing away, and I loved it. I mean, is there anyone on the team that you can't say something very quickly, very specific, good about over the last 2 games? There really isn't, right? There really isn't. You realize how rare that is? The cliche is you need to have these these other world superstars that are, the points leaders in the entire deal, and you need to have these guys whose faces are on billboards, and that's nice, don't get me wrong, but every single person has contributed to the last 2 wins for the Carolina Hurricanes. And you could even argue every single person has contributed in overtime to the wins for the Carolina Hurricanes. There's nobody there trying to hide. I mean, the amount of times it's like a big moment and you're like, you do the cliche for football. It's like, all right, here's a big third down, right? When you're, okay, here's a big face-off. And you look up and it's Jankowski settling into the face-off and you're like, oh, they got the 4th line out there. That doesn't happen as often as you'd think. Unless they're, trapped in there by an icing or something and they have to. It's the depth, the versatility of the lineup. There are times where, right, your antennas go up because you're wondering if they're maybe blending a little bit of the lines. You're like, wait, why is Ehlers out there with Blake? And they just got caught in the middle of like an awkward shift, and they're still making like high chemistry passes and knowing where the other's supposed to be, and they're only out there for 22 seconds together. It's versatility, it's depth, it's working for the Carolina Hurricanes. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. All together.
Scooped up by McNeil Jr. on a spin, drives assertively to the basket, scores in the foul. Well, Paul McNeil Jr. just takes matters into his own hands. He pulls a loose ball at half court off the deck, spins away from trouble, drives into traffic, scores with the harm.
Justin Gainey continues to just add and add and add to the NC State roster for his first year. Most recently, 6'9" Slovenian Robert Jurkovic. Prior to that, Kome Emuabar, a New Hampshire transfer. Obviously, the Slovenian coming from overseas. 23-year-old has been playing with some high levels of basketball over there in Europe for the last few years. Emuabar, 6'5", 205 pounds, 9 points, 4.3 rebounds per game last season for New Hampshire. Do you know what I thought was really interesting that we talked about? We actually had Justin Gainey, NC State's coach, on the air last week. And part of the conversation was about him assembling his coaching staff. They have 3 assistants that each individually, if the others didn't exist, would be the highest paid assistant basketball coaches in NC State program history. The highest that any, and this is according to Pac Power, but the highest any assistant coach had made for NC State previously was $400,000, and all 3 of the guys that we were talking about on their assistant coaching staff made between $400,000 and $450,000 for this upcoming year. And I went, that's really interesting. First of all, I think it's important for a first-time head coach to have a really good assistant coaching staff to lean on. Second of all, everyone's putting money onto their rosters, as they should. Right? Everyone's putting money into NIL, rev share, making sure the players are the best. But underrated part of all of that is if you get all new players, somebody's got to be the artists that put it all together in the right spot. And State is Paul McNeil Jr. to me is a center of the plate, main course, a really good player. Everybody else, I think it's going to take a little bit of learning, right? They're all some very varied backgrounds, different levels of experience, and it's going to take a while for them to figure out the best way that they play, and having some really good, highly thought of assistants, I think could really help there. Just think of these 2 guys we just mentioned. A 6'9" Slovenian, big man, can shoot it a little bit, and a New Hampshire lower mid-major 6'5" wing. What do those guys have in common, right? Like, not a ton, and you're going to have to figure out how to get them playing together. I wouldn't be surprised if they both start on the second unit. So they're going to be the white team against the red jerseys, right? The white jerseys against the red jerseys in practice. Their assistant coaches are going to be busy. And that goes all the way up and down their roster. I think there's a lot of guys, right? You have like a Hofstra, high leverage player on the perimeter, and you have a UC Irvine led the country in shot blocks player. Hofstra, Long Island. UC Irvine, California. Big guard. Like, what do those guys have in common? They're going to have to work it out. So State's putting together an interesting roster talent-wise. It's going to be a task on their coaches to get them all playing as one. That is number 4. Let's get to number 3. Here we go. New York Knicks sweep Cleveland Cavaliers. Eastern Conference Finals. They're going to the NBA Finals where they will face the winner of Spurs Thunder. One caller alluded to it. I tend to agree that the Eastern Conference was this whole tournament to find out who gets slaughtered by the Western Conference champion. But listen, the Knicks are on a heater. The Knicks are, they're winning games by an average of over, 23 points per game? Something crazy this postseason?
I don't know. It's just the latest 37-point victory in
so I can tell
a long run of absolute routes they've blown out other teams.
I can tell you the elements that you would have to put into an equation to do on-air math. New York was on a 10-game win streak in which they were beating their opponents by an average of 22.5 points per game, and then they won their 11th straight by 37. So the average went up. I don't know how much, but the average went up. That's an insane run. And I don't – I'm a Sixers fan. I know the Sixers weren't at their best. Atlanta wasn't a big, bad bully on the block. Cleveland gave up. But we know what good teams look like against bad teams. And New York looked like a good team against bad teams. I do think it could be – hear me out here. Last time New York was in the finals was 99. Prior to that, 94. And other than that, the kind of whole Patrick Ewing era was given a pass because it overlapped with the Michael Jordan era. If they make it back to the finals only to run into a peak annoying Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or a peak emerging Victor Wembanyama, there's definitely going to be some feeling of it's happening again. Maybe. But I'm happy for the Knicks, which is tough for me to say as a Sixers fan. I'm happy for them. Knicks fans are going crazy. On the other side, the Spurs Thunder series has been really fun. It's 2-2. I will say, and I hinted at it a second ago, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really annoying to watch. I don't think it's his fault, right? Because as a competitor, if you have an advantage and you can do things to get to the free throw line, you can do things to make the opposing defenses hesitant, do them. But goodness gracious, have you seen the stats? I think it was Tom Haberstroh that put them together of how often he falls after he shoots. So he takes a shot, how often he ends up on the ground.
Basically every shot.
It felt that way. I think he's 19%, which sounds really low until you recognize nobody else other than James Harden is above 9%. So he's essentially doubling everyone else in the league other than James Harden on how many times he falls after taking a shot. And that's just, it's not fun to watch. It's not his fault, but it's not fun to watch. And there is a difference. I want to be clear on this. Because there's it who was it? I think it was Kendrick Perkins on ESPN was saying I played with Paul Pierce. We'd be at a timeout and Paul Pierce would say I got to get to the free throw line. Or, greats have said you got to get to the free throw line. There's a difference between using your savant basketball ability or your high athleticism to get defenders out of control so that they foul you as you try to go up for a shot and try to make a shot. It's a whole other thing when you are going into non-basketball playing contortions to artificially create situations where, whether you are fouled or not, it looks like you got fouled. I don't mind a guy who's I got to get to the free throw line. I got to be aggressive. I'm going to go pump fake and try to dunk on somebody. I'm fine with getting to the line. I don't love as soon as their hands go up, I'm going to jump, kick my legs into a star, like a cheerleader being stunted into the air, and underhand scoop it from the free throw line and yell, ah, and fall on the ground. Like, that's what I'm not okay with.
Am I crazy, or a couple of years ago, did they not say they were cracking down on this and that they were going to, basically, if you did these kind of unnatural motions up in the air, that it was going to be an offensive foul? I could have sworn they were about to institute that, and then we just accepted when they were like, actually, we're not going to do that.
They've cracked down on specific movements. I don't know if they cracked down on, like, for years, if you had a guy who was putting his hand out near your chest, Kevin Durant did this, James Harden did this, you could just rip your hands through and shoot, and they've done away with that. I don't think I don't know if they can, because sometimes you're out of control and your legs move when you shoot. And you can't say, like, you can't move your legs when you shoot, because then fadeaways, like, go away. And you can't just say, like, common sense, you didn't have to. No, he did. You didn't have to. Like, that's too objective. So I don't know what the answer is, but I just don't like it. I want to be on the record not liking it. Let's go Spurs. Just because you don't fall as much. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Oh, I get it. Vegas. I get it. I was like waiting for it's Vegas. I got you now. Vegas leads Colorado 3-0 in the Western Conference Finals on the other side of the NHL playoffs. 3-0 over Colorado. I mean, Colorado was as big of a favorite, essentially the exact same level of favorite over Vegas as Carolina was over Montreal. To go down 3-0 and the first 2 games being in your home arena is wildly surprising until you start looking at some of the injuries and things that Colorado's dealing with. Colorado is a team built around 2 guys, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar. Martin Necas thrown in there. Jack Drury thrown in there. Brent Burns thrown in there. Just talking former Canes. But McKinnon and Makar, the straws that stirred the drink. They took out Makar for the first 2. Wasn't able to play. Plays in the 3rd game, and McKinnon takes the puck off the knee, blocking a shot. And while he gave it a go a couple times, he really wasn't able to be very impactful after that. I don't know if Colorado's built to handle that. It doesn't take away from what Vegas is doing. Vegas playing very, very well, right? And they're showing some of that mind of a really good team by being able to go down 3-0, battle back, win 5-3. Like, there's things to praise there, but I just hate when there are 2 things that are part of the story. And one of them was a big part of the story for the Canes-Montreal game last night, and one was a big part of the entire series in the Western Conference. I hate when injuries are the biggest part of the story, and I hate when the refs are the biggest part of the story. And we're getting a heavy dosage of that in the conference finals on both sides. And that's just a bummer. Max, is this all the formality, or does Colorado have a chance to shock the world?
I think they're toast, given Makar's coming back from the shoulder injury. McKinnon apparently is going to give it a go tonight. We don't know exactly how healthy he is. Definitely isn't going to be 100% if he wasn't even able to really skate a real shift after taking that shot to the knee. I think, unfortunately for them, it's the end of the road, and I kind of referenced this earlier. It's very familiar to some of these Canes runs that have gotten to the conference final and unfortunately fizzled out in spectacular fashion, going down 3-0 and either getting swept or losing in 5. Now, they could bounce back. I'm not going to rule it out, but just given where they're at right now, having to go on the road again tonight just to try to get one and extend, I think it's going to be too difficult for them to overcome, especially with how well Vegas is playing. I did not see this level of playoff hockey from them. With the Torts coaching change for them has really paid dividends, and they're seeing levels of postseason success that I don't think he's really had as a coach up to this point to lead a team to the conference or to potentially the Stanley Cup final with one more win. But hey, look, you lose the best defenseman in the world for a couple games, it can make a big difference. And me with my Canes brain, it just makes me think all the more impressive how well the Canes played this year, considering Jacob Slavin missed the first half of the year.
Big part of it. to bring back everyone's favorite conversation, for the winner of the East, obviously we hope it's Carolina, but for the winner of the East, is it better if Vegas finishes it and has the long break, or do you want Colorado to tire them out a little bit?
I guess it depends on what do you value winning game one and then the other team maybe starting slow, or maybe the long run. I don't know. I don't think ultimately it'll make that much of a difference at this point. I don't think anyone's going to be looking at a 11-day layoff regardless of result here. So
please don't make me do more shows about rest versus rust. That's what I'm asking for.
Oh my gosh.
Please.
I there's no more soccer games. I can't go on another vacation.
Please. That's number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go one! Here's a giveaway. Svechnikov with it, trying to beat both Hudson and Dobson. Svechnikov will hang on to the puck. Sand across. Jarvis has to settle it. He'll get it right back. A chance. They score! They score! Andrei Svechnikov wins it in overtime! And the Hurricanes have silenced the Bell Center and have taken a 2-1 series lead here in the Eastern Conference Final.
That's the part we're focusing on for number 1. The Canes take the 2-1 series lead. Big picture stuff. We are currently at the point for a lot of first time since Rod Brind'Amour captained the Carolina Hurricanes to a Stanley Cup. First time winning 10 postseason games since Rod Brind'Amour led Carolina Hurricanes to a Stanley Cup. First time having a lead in the Eastern Conference Finals, because they've never even won Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals since relocation. First time since Carolina was led to a Stanley Cup in 2006 by Rod Brind'Amour. There's a lot of stats like that, which could argue they are breaking through slowly the ceiling that they've been bashing their heads against for the last 8 years. But also, after every win in this postseason, you can go find it on my Twitter. I started with 1 down, 15 to go, and I've just retweeted that with 2 down, 14 to go, 3 down, on and on and on, all the way till now, which is 6 more to go. 6 more to go. And the reason why I'm emphasizing that, you have your 10 wins, you need 16 more to win the Cup, is because this year's Canes team, with the situation they've been dealt from the rest of the bracket and who's healthy and who's not, with how good they've been playing, with how complete their roster is, with how they played this regular season, with how they played in the first 2 rounds, the goal is the Cup. The goal is hoisting the Stanley Cup. The goal isn't to win more playoff games in any year since 2006. The goal isn't to get the lead in the Eastern Conference Finals, to get the monkey off your back of 1-16. The goal isn't any. The goal has been Cup. So 10 down, 6 to go is how I look at this. And the last 6 will probably be as difficult, if not more difficult, than the first 10. Montreal, you're going to catch them. I mean, if I have to hear about the Bell Center and the history and, the Stanley Cups that were won decades before I was born one more time, that's an electric place, and they are not going to go quietly and just settle for a 3-1 deficit in the series. You're going to have to go in there tomorrow and absolutely light it up, even more so than you did in game 3 when you pretty much dominated from start to finish. Still needed overtime to get the win. So this Canes team has found a way to overcome all of these little hurdles and obstacles thrown in their way this year. And not little, all of these hurdles and obstacles, things like Slavin missing half the year, right? Things like depending on a waiver claim, not a rookie, but really a rookie goalie for a huge chunk of the year. I mean, things like not just Slavin going down with an injury, the period of time where everybody was down with an injury on the blue line, it seemed. And they're bringing up all these rookies. And you're looking at Alexander Nikishin and saying, sorry, we're not actually slowly bringing you along. You got to give us 26 minutes tonight. And slumps and scoring and The stretch in the down in Florida where they gave up 2 3-goal leads, one to Tampa, one to Florida. Like they fought through everything to get to this point, but they didn't really fight through everything to get to this point. They fought through everything to get 6 more wins from this point. 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals, especially based on where they were after Game 1, is gigantic. But it's gigantic because of the percentage chance it gives you to accomplish the real thing you're after. And if little things, right, can get going, the power play, if that can get going in a better direction, hopefully the top line kind of opened the floodgates with the overtime goal from Svetch, and they can start pouring it in a bit more. All of those things continue to happen. Like there's still ways to get better. And I'm looking forward to seeing them try. Tomorrow's game you can hear right here on 99.9 The Fan, as always. That is number 1. Now we have to get some numbers game contestants. Numbers game. For your chance to win not only the numbers game and the glory that comes with it, but a $25 AutoBell gift card. Get your car spick and span, absolutely clean. Go ahead and call in 919-860-5326. 919-860-5326. Call in now for your chance to compete in the numbers game and potentially win a $25 AutoBell car wash gift card. Numbers game coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox from my good friends over at Law Tigers. I enjoy a holiday weekend. I know a lot of people out there enjoyed their holiday weekend as well. And as the weather really turns warm and the summertime is approaching, you're going to see a lot of motorcycles out there on the road. I know I can't wait to get out on the motorcycle, maybe head out to the mountains a little bit, take some long drives. But when I take these long rides on my motorcycle, I got to make sure I plan ahead. And if it is a hot day, make sure I'm hydrated. Make sure I have plenty of time to stop to make sure I can rehydrate myself. I can let my body relax a little bit out there in the heat. So make sure you plan ahead for any long trips that you're going to take. But if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you get in touch with the insurance company. Your case evaluation is always free. You don't pay a dime until your case settles. Insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they are there to fight for you. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Let me wait until all of those other quarterbacks do their deals to see what the high water mark is for the quarterback market, and then I'll decide what I want in terms of the Baltimore Ravens giving me a deal, what I want it to look like, and I'll also decide whether or not I'm happy here in Baltimore with new head coach Jesse Minter.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the sound of Claire, cooking dinner at home. And that's the sound of a fraud alert from Wells Fargo, flagging a charge for a pricey restaurant in Paris. Considering Claire isn't in Paris right now, that seemed odd. To the bank and to Claire. 2 taps later, Claire says nope to the charge, and Wells Fargo is on the case. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Hey hockey fans, it's Trip Tracy. If you're ready to upgrade your outdoor living space, look no further than TimberTech Decking and Railing. TimberTech is the #1 premium composite decking brand, and it's tough enough to handle anything. It looks just like real wood, but without the costly maintenance of a wood deck. It won't rot, warp, splinter, or peel, ever. And it's backed by industry-leading warranties, so your deck will last year after year. Connect with a local contractor or order free samples at TimberTech.com to see the TimberTech difference for yourself. TimberTech, everything wood should be.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. Our contestants for today are Eli in Raleigh. Sorry, I got them in the wrong order. Line 1, not that it matters for any of you. Hunter in Raleigh. Line 2, Eli in Raleigh. And they will be battling it out for the opportunity to get their car all fresh and clean. That's a $25 Auto Bell car wash gift card. As always, we'll bring them each onto the show. We will ask them the same question. And Max will be the judge for today. He'll pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Hunter in Raleigh. Hunter, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. As we often ask on Mondays, but today's a Tuesday, it's still the first show of the week. Holiday weekend just wrapped up. What was the highlight of your weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure it somehow relates to sports.
I would say my highlight was seeing ECU win the American Baseball Conference tournament.
All right. ECU winning the American Baseball tournament. Any follow-ups? Nope. All right. We'll go to Eli and Raleigh. Eli, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, perfect. What was the highlight of your weekend, the entire holiday weekend? But because we're a sports show, make sure it's sports-related.
Watching the Canes win.
Watching the Canes win. All right. Max, you have your options. ECU winning the American Baseball or the Canes winning, I guess, game. Did he specify a game? I guess
He
both
just said
of them.
win.
Which they did in both the games over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, shout out ECU baseball. Like, congrats on making it to the tournament. But if you listen to our airwaves at all today, you might figure it out that I'm gonna side with the Canes, watching the Canes win, and hopefully we get a couple more of those. So we'll give the nod to Eli. Let him go first.
ECU is coming to the area, by the way. They'll be playing in the Chapel Hill Regional. So you can go check them out in person.
Some going to be some very conflicted ECU graduate Carolina basketball fans.
Well, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole right now. Maybe we will later in the week, though. Eli and Raleigh gets to go first. Hunter, don't worry, you'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold. Eli, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes.
All right. The categories are NFL, Panthers only. Major League Baseball, guys who have gone yard 3 times in a single game. NBA, players that played in this year, 2026 NBA playoffs. Or Carolina Hurricanes only, NHL.
NBA.
All right. NBA players that played in the 2026 NBA playoffs. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number from when they played for that team. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. And do you have any questions?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. LeBron James, Los Angeles Lakers.
23.
Correct. Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics.
3.
Incorrect. Mark Williams, Phoenix Suns.
12.
Say it again.
12.
Incorrect. Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics.
Pass.
Jaden McDaniels, Minnesota Timberwolves.
2.
Incorrect. Mark Williams, Phoenix Suns.
2.
Incorrect. Jaylen Brown, Boston Celtics.
30. No.
Incorrect. Well, you got one. You avoided the shutout with LeBron. The numbers we were looking for Jaylen Brown, he wears 7. Mark Williams, Duke guy, 15 for the Suns. And McDaniels for Minnesota wears number 3. Those were the numbers we were looking for. 1 is the lead in the clubhouse. Stay on the line, and we'll see if it holds up, okay?
Okay.
All right. That brings us to Hunter. Hunter, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL, Panthers only. Major League Baseball, guys who have gone yard 3 times in a single game, or NHL Hurricanes only.
Panthers.
Panthers, is that what you said?
Yes, Panthers.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock, 1 pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. And you do need at least 2 for the win. Do we have any questions before we jump in?
No.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Rico Dowdle, Carolina Panthers.
5.
Correct. Tershawn Wharton, Carolina Panthers.
99.
Incorrect. Brendan LaFell, Carolina Panthers.
17.
Incorrect. Tershawn Wharton, Carolina Panthers.
93.
Incorrect. Brendan LaFell, Carolina Panthers.
11.
Correct. Fred Lane, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Ray Caruth, Carolina Panthers.
43.
Incorrect. Tershawn Wharton, Carolina Panthers.
92.
Ooh, we'll have to go to the judges on that one, but all right, we're going to give it to you. The good news is you didn't need it for the win, so the controversy won't be there. So you got the win. Congrats, and we gave you credit for 3 out of 5.
Thank you.
The numbers we were looking for, again, Rico was 5. Turk Wharton, we would have accepted 92 or 98. Brandon LaFell, 11. Fred Lane, 32. Ray Caruth, 84 or 89. Obviously, complicated history there. Not really complicated, just kind of awful history there. But that is enough for the win, so congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Go ahead and stand the line, and Max will grab the info he needs to make sure you get your prize. I don't know if this is a funny story, but it's one that popped into my head when we heard Ray Caruth. So obviously Ray Caruth got in a lot of criminal problems, criminal trouble involving, I believe there were hitmen. I don't know the whole story, so don't hold me to it. I was very young when all of that happened, but I had trading cards, had sports cards, and I think we learned that my cousins had burnt all their Ray Caruth cards, like thrown them in a fire or something. And I was like, yeah, we should do the same, right? Like, this is a bad guy. But my parents were like, no, we're not going to set something on fire. We're not just starting a fire. And, like, we had a fireplace in our house, but it was gas, so it was glass, and you couldn't, like, throw things in it. So, like, my big act of defiance was, like, we turned the water on, put a bowl, and put all our Ray Caruth cards in the water. Didn't feel as defiant as setting something on fire, but it ruined the cards nonetheless. So my very moral, like, 5-year-old or whatever I was at that time got to feel the triumph of, I don't want them in my collection. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Don't forget, by the way, we were talking about the Canes, obviously, throughout the game, or throughout the show, I should say. The game tomorrow right here on 99.9 The Fan. You can listen to it just like every game all season. We do a pretty good job of it. And when I say we, I mean everybody that's involved in those productions, not really me. But Trip, Mike, everybody behind the scenes, they do a great job, and you should continue to listen to it here on 99.9 The Fan. Right now, Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. It's cliche, right? And arenas lighting up with energy, and everybody goes like, oh, it's hot in here, or oh, it's buzzing, oh, it's electric. You want all of those to be metaphorical, right? You don't want it to be like, oh, it's so hot in here, and you're like, yeah, it's my air conditioner, it's broken, I got you. Oh, it's buzzing. Yeah, every time I turn on the lights, it just buzzes in here, and I don't know why. You don't want that kind of stuff. You want it to remain metaphorical. If any of those things are happening, right? You want it raining goals. You don't want it raining leaks from the ceiling. If any of those things are happening, heating, cooling, plumbing, or electrical issues, hearing, seeing, feeling them, something's wrong in your house, you want to call Mainer Service Company. The phone number, very simple, 919-361-0993. That is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week service all across the triangle. That's all of Wake County and 50 miles in any direction. 919-860. Sorry, I was giving you our phone number there. Don't remember 860. Went on autopilot. 919-361-0993 for Mainer Service Company. That's 919. I'll say it slowly to make sure we get it this time. 361-0993. Or you can always go the way I do it. MainerServices.com. MAYNOR Services.com. Then you're just clicking links and it's making calls for you. It's all Mainer Service Company. Check them out. Let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Hockey, postseason, full go. Transfer portal, college basketball, full go. NBA playoffs, full go. OTAs, NFL, full go. So what college football player randomly, not randomly, but kind of in the midst of all of that is getting wildly hyped up this week and weekend? I'll tell you next.
Can't get enough of the Carolina Hurricanes? Check out my podcast, Iced Tea, hosted by me, Megan LaMontagne, as I take you behind the scenes and get exclusive stories about the team. This season, I've interviewed Seth Jarvis's brother, Caden, who talks about a young Jarvie growing up, longtime PA announcer Wade Minter, who spills the tea on how a mess-up made national news, and legendary color commentator Trip Tracy, just to name a few of the guests. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Hey, it's Amanda here, back again with my friend Coach Pete. Coach, you talked about how companies are not giving you a retirement or a pension anymore. I've seen this firsthand with a family member. She worked for a company that they matched her 401k like up to 20%. You never see that anymore. They did so many things, and now it's like you're on your own.
Well, yeah, you are. You're on your own, and companies shifted the burden of retirement from themselves, which they used to give you a pension, to you. So it's no fun to save in that 401k, but if you save now, you have a whole lot more money in the future. And what you do when you have a lump sum in the 401k is you roll it into a place which will give you a growth potential, a protecting that growth. In other words, you won't give it back, no fees, and then it will give you a lifetime income you can't outlive. If you haven't seen this, you really need to. Let's look at what you have put aside, what that could translate to for a lifetime income that will put you in control of retirement. Call now. We'll do one for you. No cost or obligation.
919-794-7900. 919-794-7900.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
Progressive's accident response can detect and send help when you need it most, after a major car accident. But other accidents, you're on your own. Like when you accidentally call your wife Mom. When you accidentally say Happy Holidays on someone's birthday. When you accidentally wave at someone you thought was waving at you. We can't help with those accidents, but Progressive's accident response provides peace of mind after major car accidents. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Limited availability in California. Driver is responsible for emergency and towing charges not covered by the policy.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
With Bet365 Early Payout, you win even if they lose. Get paid out instantly when your team goes up big, even if they blow the lead later. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina.
You knew we were getting Michael McDonald when Max is producing. I had somebody, we were out on the plaza before one of the Canes games. I forget which one it was. So we were doing, like during commercials, listeners come up, we chat, and one of them couldn't contain his laughter. When Max plays Michael McDonald, what's the deal with that? He was like,
why is he
giddy.
laughing? Like that's a joke to him, or
he basically thought it was like the funniest bit we have on the show. Michael McDonald.
Part of it's a bit, but part of it is I got to get my listening in for the day.
I think that's why it's funny, because it's authentic, right? It's not a bit, but
just spreading Michael McDonald awareness every day. He's still around. He's still kicking.
The listener genuinely was very excited that you like Michael McDonald. He was I think he was hoping that I would say, "Oh, it's all a bit." Like he not hoping, but he was like, going up to a magician, like, "Just tell me how you do it. Just tell me." And I was like, "No, it's real. He just likes Michael McDonald. That's just his thing." And I had a fun time with it. It made me laugh.
Yeah, just the Spotify Wrapped. Just yearly, and they actually, if you use Spotify, they actually release like your all-time like top songs recently. It all backs up what you've heard here very much. The top two are
There is no trick, everybody.
Doobie Brothers.
We're not Oz the Mentalist. For those of you that have seen, he's kind of being exposed. We're not. There's no gimmicks, no tricks. He just likes Michael McDonald. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I said there was a college football player getting a bananas amount of like hype right now, which is strange, right? Usually if you're a dark horse, like right after the NFL draft for the next college football season, you're going to be a dark horse going into the next college football season. C.J. Bailey, the quarterback of NC State, seems to be rising in everybody's estimation. Maybe, I don't know, the evaluators weren't really paying attention. They weren't watching State last year. I don't know. But 2 separate articles came out on ESPN. One is NFL draft focused. 2027 NFL draft quarterback class, top prospects to know. Everybody's been hyping up the 2027 draft class. I don't hear C.J. Bailey's name very often. If you go read this article, the very first name mentioned is C.J. Bailey. Now, really all that means is he's in their top 10 because the top 10 are in alphabetical order. But the rest of the 10, C.J. Carr, Notre Dame, hear it all the time. Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss, almost ended up as one of the top handful of quarterbacks this year if he didn't get his waiver to return. Jaden Mayava from USC, every USC quarterback is hyped at this time of year. Arch Manning from Texas, that guy, I mean, he has a little bit of hype. Darian Mensah, Miami. Drew Mestamaker, Oklahoma State. These are names that have been heard quite a bit, and C.J. Bailey. Then the other article that was put out comes from David Hale, who, shout out to fellow Delaware alumni, go Blue Hens, but also covers college football for ESPN, ranked all 138 FBS QB situations ahead of the 2026 season, which is essentially how good is your starting quarterback, or how good are your quarterbacks in a quarterback competition. It's not really judging backups equally to starters. It's just, you know, if 2 guys are competing, he puts you in there as a duo. 17th overall in the entire country, C.J. Bailey. And it's really a pack, they call it tier 4, between 15 and 20. And that's more important. 17, you may be like, wow, 10, 17. This is for college football. And college, like really, really good college quarterbacks, a lot of times don't have any kind of projection to the NFL. So this is including those guys in the lineup, right? Like a Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt last year would have been on any list of the best college quarterbacks going into Vanderbilt's season a season ago, but he would not have been on darn near any NFL best quarterbacks due to size and a few other physical limitations. C.J. Bailey's getting hyped the heck up. And what that tells me is analysts, insiders, writers maybe didn't see it themselves. So when they're reacting quickly to the all right, the draft is over, we need to put out lists, or all right, the season's over, we need to put out way too early lists. They didn't have them there, but as the NFL season ends, as you're maybe talking to guys around the draft, maybe a little after, the people that do it for a living, the scouts, the people that do it for a living, the coaches, they're saying, like, you know who you need to be looking at? C.J. Bailey. You know who you need to be looking at? C.J. Bailey. You know who you need to be looking at? C.J. Bailey. And they say it over and over and over again, enough to where the writers go, you know what? I think I'm going to write down C.J. Bailey. And I don't have to get it. I don't have to see it. I don't have to know how it works, because all of these people that I trust are telling me something. And you kind of co-sign it. And that's very, very good for NC State. Because do you know what is like a lost art in college sports? Developing guys. It is darn near extinct. Like just a true, we took a player as a 3-star, and in 2 seasons have him being mentioned amongst the top guys for the next draft, which would be his early declare year. And we benefit the entire time because he stayed. That almost never happens. Even if you strike gold with the 3-star, you usually get 2 years most before he goes in and cashes in somewhere else. They've kept him on campus. And if it works, and it's big if, okay? But if it works, if he puts on the appropriate weight, if he hones in on the decision-making just a little bit, if he learns to use his legs in the right times and the right ways and protect himself, and he goes in the first round, you get to be one of the only schools that can go out there and say, hey, we have recently developed a top quarterback. You didn't go and buy one out of the transfer portal after his junior year when he was all conference somewhere else. You didn't do that. Like, can Indiana really say they developed Fernando Mendoza? Or did Cal develop him and then Indiana benefited from it? Did Miami develop Cam Ward? Or did Incarnate Word and Washington State develop Cam Ward and then Miami benefited from it? Well, State wouldn't be able to, or wouldn't have to, share the credit with anybody. And if the insiders are learning that, if the writers are learning that from the people that do it for a living, it's a very good sign for NC State and for CJ Bailey. Now, I will say, tried and true, especially for the super young prospects, and he is one, I hope he has either coaches that he trusts enough at the college level or high school buddies or someone in his family or somebody that is telling him he ain't nothing. Because this kind of stuff is what, Nick Saban is affectionately named rat poison from the media, right? When people start talking really, really good about you and you start believing it is a problem, which is why I, always say, and I don't have any experience with it being that highly anything, but I always say, like, hey, if you have a good group of people that knew you before you were you, hold on to them with two hands, right? If you have a good group of friends, and by the way, like his high school team, what was it, JoJo Trader, who just transferred there, wide receiver that was at Miami, Jeremiah Smith, the stud wide receiver from Ohio State. Like, I hope they've got a group chat going where every time CJ Bailey's on a list, Jeremiah Smith is going, oh, that little list is cute. They're comparing me to? Like Julio Jones. How you like me now? I hope that's going on. Again, just need a few people in their lives. That's all I'm saying. The right people. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll take the last few minutes here to go back to some Canes topics. I just have some stats here that I bookmarked, I earmarked, and I want to reference because I think they're that kind of crazy. Often cited, but crazy anyway. Last night, the Canadians had more icings than shots on goal. More icings than shots on goal. We've long said on this show that the Canes are playing their best when the opposing team is icing it a ton, right? When they are, and especially when they're doing it intentionally. You see them, they're so suffocated. They're so out of other options that they take an icing just for the 15 seconds it takes for the puck to make it back to the face-off zone that they can collect themselves. And when you are forcing more icings than shots on goal, something's going well. We kind of referenced this earlier, but I'm gonna reference it again. The NHL has had 1,026 playoff games go to overtime in its history. In the Hurricanes' last two games, Games 2 and Game 3, both wins, both went to overtime. They held the Canadians to the lowest and third lowest shot totals in NHL history, 12 and 13. That's insane. 1,026. Tied for the lowest and the third lowest shot total in any of those 126 games. That is unreal. Well, how do you do it? How do you end up with such a low shot total? Well, how about this? Over the final 37 minutes and 43 seconds, Montreal had two shots. That's the end of regulation and all of overtime. 37 minutes and 43 seconds, two shots.
That's what Montreal did to Carolina in Game 1. They only had two shots on goal in the third period of that game. It's interesting.
You know how terrible that felt as Canes fans, watching that and just
really
feeling hopeless. Now, add to that overtime, and how would you feel? Like, at least the Canes got out of their misery in Game 1 in regulation and got to start recovering and licking their wounds and moving towards Game 2. Montreal in both games got absolutely stuck being miserable at the end of the third and miserable into the overtime period. And 37 minutes to almost 38, two shots, and not having an answer. That's not having your break glass in case of emergency just get something on net. That can be a mental edge going into the next games. Can't depend on it, but they You hold them to 3 shots in the first period next game, there's some frustration that's going to be coming out.
It's almost like they have it's almost like soccer teams with like a counter-attacking style, like because this isn't the first, like the Canes are not the only team to do this to Montreal. Like they had the Game 7 win against Tampa where they only had 9 shots on goal, and they're managing to just get the ones that matter to go. So, I mean, it's an interesting strategy they're employing. If I were Martin St. Louis, I would probably say maybe get some more shots on the net, but I mean clearly otherwise it's worked for them decently so far.
I see some logic trading 28 mediocre shots for 10 grade A's. Like, I can see that. But if you're not potting home 3 or 4 of those grade A's, it's going to be really tough because the Canes are good enough to score 2 or 3 goals. That much for darn sure. And there's more shots on goal stats that are absolutely crazy, but I think you get the picture by this point, so we'll go ahead and move on. Coming up on Overdrive, we will start off with more Canes talk, so I encourage you all to stick around for that. We'll also get into some Carolina Panther talk with some audio from Derrick Brown. That's even further into Overdrive, so stick around even further for that. We'll be back tomorrow. It'll be another hockey night in Carolina, although the game will be in Montreal. So we'll get you ready for that one on a Wednesday show. Thank you to Max for keeping us up and running today with Dennis not in today. We'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy Michael McDonald on the way out.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Let me wait until all of those other quarterbacks do their deals to see what the high water mark is for the quarterback market, and then I'll decide what I want in terms of the Baltimore Ravens giving me a